B-side on the beat.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Trying to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
What is going on, everybody? Hopefully, guys are doing well out there. We got so much news, but we got to cut the intro short and get to the matters at hand. It is another Thursday night around the globe here on Sports Card Radio, the longest running, the most listened to, the most talked about, the most threatened lawsuit program in the history of the hobby. This is the longest running independently owned podcast website in the sports card hobby. Guys, there's a lot of people in this hobby that want you to be their friend, that want you to like them, that want you to follow them, that want to influence you. Sports Card Radio wants you to know the truth about this hobby, the truth about the companies, the truth about these influencers that are trying to influence the hobby we all love. We got a big news night tonight. We got acquisitions and mergers. We have to talk about CardsHQ. We got to give you guys a little bit of a lesson as it relates to card trimming. Sports Card Radio is one of the preeminent websites in the world. In fact, it's the only website that actually actively talks about sports card trimming. It will actually touch on the topic, and we'll keep a record of all of the scams, scandalous, and shadiness that is going on in the sports card world. You guys spend your hard-earned time to make your hard-earned money, and a lot of these guys are out here to steal it and scam you. And Sports Card Radio is going to make sure that doesn't happen. We are joining you again live here on Thursday night, 5:30 Pacific time out here on the West Coast, 8:30 out there on the East Coast where SGC is located, and they got themselves some new bosses over there. Speaking of bosses, we are joined by none other than Ryan here on the program. How are we doing tonight?
Got a lot happening in the sports card world. Obviously, huge news happening. So I kind of like to sit back and watch everybody talk about it. Fun seeing all the reactions. I guess we get our turn now at the microphone. Good to see everybody in the chat super fired up. Super producer Tim is getting settled in. He is earning his 4.2 equity tonight. I see a lot of people in the chat. Obviously, Philly Joe, Money Mike, AIH Sports, Mike Smith, Big Shep. Yes, we will be at the Auburn Sports Card Show on Saturday. That is coming up this weekend. I will be there. Auburn, California, guys. Come on out. Maybe I'll have some SGC slabs. Maybe I'll have some PSA slabs. But I don't know where you wanted to start. I mean, you know, we're going to start with the big topic of the day, PSA and SGC. But I kind of want to actually hear your thoughts on the whole thing. What were your thoughts when you heard that it happened? And what do you think about the future of SGC and PSA now being married together?
Sure. I think where we start is actually outside of SGC and PSA as we look at what is now surprisingly and shockingly potentially the fourth pace grader in the business, and that is BGS. That is Beckett. The fact that these two companies have combined forces, that is PSA and SGC, I think spell absolute doom and gloom for BGS. How can they bring back their reputation? How can they bring back business when the two leading grading companies in terms of volume have now combined? Seems a little difficult if you were to ask me. I think Beckett's days are numbers. Certainly, they could compete on price. They can compete on service level. But what they also can't compete on is the fact that they've got a lot of baggage in their back seat. Same does SGC. Same with PSA. We'll get into that today. But I think this has massive ramifications on Beckett. They went from a solid number 2 grading company in the world, maybe even number 1 at some point, to now a distant 4th place grading company and probably on the verge of, I don't know if going out of business, insolvency, probably too strong of a word. But I think it's safe to say that Sports Card Radio is probably churning out a little bit more to the bottom line than Beckett is these days. And so my first message to the hobby is, while you're out there on your acquisition spree, if you want to add money to the bottom line, if you want to add money to your marketing budget and add strength to your marketing arm of your company, Sports Card Radio is for sale. You're more than welcome to send unsolicited offers over to Sports Card Radio. It'll be a painless negotiation. We won't require teams of lawyers and long, lengthy contracts, but you are more than welcome to send across those unsolicited offers. That goes out to collectors, that goes out to fanatics, or any company out there in the universe of sports cards. If you want to acquire the longest running, the most respected, and the most talked about sports card program on the internet, the one that has inspired pretty much every other podcast and other program here on the internet as it relates to sports cards, you can send your offer over to Sports Card Radio, and that would make Mr. Super Producer Tim very happy because his 4.2% equity would vest at that very moment. Wouldn't take a whole lot, my opinion, to get us to agree to a buyout offer. But we'll wait anxiously for those offers to come through. In the meantime, we will continue to cover this hobby from an unbiased perspective. As it relates to PSA and SGC, my opinion, it's a match made in heaven. There's not going to be any antitrust lawsuit as it relates to this. The FTC's got their handful with Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and companies that have actual billions of dollars. Junkwax Hero posted a video earlier today on YouTube that I watched. He said he had some inside sources, says Collectors, which is, again, the parent company of PSA, is looking to go public probably in a couple of years. I believe that company was taken private right in that $700 million range. So they're probably looking in a hot market. You get Fanatics to go public. If that IPO goes relatively well and the stock price is able to hold, well, Collectors certainly could go public with the similar type of metrics, similar type of valuation. And it would prove that Wall Street has an appetite for that. So this SGC acquisition was kind of a tuck-in. It's a way to eliminate some competition. I look at this as almost like an airline merger. So you have PSA and SGC basically doing the same thing. It's very much like JetBlue and American Airlines or Spirit and Southwest. They all do the same thing. Okay, neither of these companies are doing anything revolutionary or anything much different than the other. The only difference is that a PSA will do an upcharge on an expensive card, and SGC I don't think does. So other than that, they both have trimmers getting cards through. They both do a pretty lousy job and a pretty subjective job actually grading the cards. This is more about business. It's more about eliminating competition. My guess is the SGC brand will stick around for a little while. I would assume maybe the rest of the year, and then eventually it all gets folded under PSA. And the executives and some of the carryover staff can either be folded into PSA or they can be let go on their merry way. But my guess is this is one of those moves very similar to the airline industry, similar to other industries, where you buy a competitor and they operate, quote, independently for a while, and then it all gets folded under the main brand at some point. Just makes more sense to me. We're seeing a lot
you're
of
not buying the fact that Ravel tweeted yesterday both brands will live separately, and collectors have bought some brands, whether it be Golden, whether it be Card Ladder, whether it be the video game grader, and in some respects, I guess, have kept them separate to a degree. You're not buying the fact that both these brands, SGC and PSA, will live separately, and eventually we're just going to be talking about PSA.
That's what I think. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think maybe with video games, maybe that's a parallel market. I mean, PSA and SGC do the exact same thing. They don't do anything different. And PSA is going to want to upchart. I mean, now that they're the same company, and if they are prepping for an IPO, which does make sense, you know, people take these things private. You know, they skin all the easy money off of that. They streamline the operation, and then you take it public at a larger valuation, and the insiders cash out. No, it doesn't make any sense that the brands live separately for a long period of time. Like I said, I believe through the rest of the year, you're going to have both companies. But if you're a fanboy of SGC, how does today make you feel? If you're a fanboy of PSA, I don't think today changes a whole lot. But if you're a fanboy of SGC, why wouldn't you just send to PSA? Now, I understand the upcharges and those types of things, but I got to imagine those are coming. The upcharges, the turnaround times, the collectors club, all that stuff's coming. It's not going to be that you're going to have a competing company inside there and they do something somewhat anti-competitive to the main brand. I think this all gets rolled up into one brand. And ultimately, this is where the hobby is. Everybody says, oh, there's so much money flowing through the hobby. The hobby's in a great place. I don't think so. eBay buying a piece of Check Out My Cards, PSA buying SGC. I mean, the position that Panini is in at this point doesn't seem like these companies are in that great a position. None of these companies are acting like, you know, world-class companies at this stage. If you're a world-class company and you've got a bunch of money and you're just printing money and life is good, why do you sell to PSA? Because if you're Pete and whoever else owns or manages over any part of SGC, your job is gone. Why do you need SGC Pete? What does SGC Pete do over at PSA when you have other managers and other people at PSA who do the same thing? You don't need him. So why would you sell unless you really, really, really had to? My guess is SGC was either marginally profitable or was losing money. Being the number two, that's why right off the bat, we sang a little RIP song to Beckett, because if SGC felt financially obligated to sell their company, then we know Beckett is just on their complete last leg.
And we can get into them and the trials and tribulations of Beckett, sure, but we'll save Beckett for, a little bit. But I think a lot of people identify SGC with SGC Pete. He's kind of the face of the company. He's in his 20s. He's younger than Mojo Sports Autographs.
Wow.
I don't know if a lot of people realize that. When people are like, oh, you pick on Mojo, he's a kid. It's like, he's older than SGC Pete. He's in his 20s. I've talked to him, I think, once or twice on the phone. I'm actually fairly impressed with him. I could actually see keeping him on and running the Florida branch of the PSA office. So I certainly would not discard him for some other middle management guy that they've hired down in California or New Jersey or whatever. I think he's better than anybody they could particularly find. Now, there are mixed reviews about Mr. Dave Foreman, a guy they keep in the background, really, frankly, for good reason. And a lot of the COVID era guys and the people who kind of helped pump SGC to the prominence that they are, and they were able to get acquired by PSA, don't know anything about Dave Foreman. We actually do know quite a bit about Mr. David Foreman. One of the preeminent articles about card trimming is this article about Gary Scissor Hands Moser. And actually had to put out a bounty for this photo, and a user sent this photo in. So that's how this photo of this card trimmer actually exists, because I put out a bounty for it, and a viewer of our website sent that in. But anyways, Mr. Moser, who is a prolific card trimmer, so much so that Betsy and Brent know him on a first name basis. Well, it's been described that his relationship with the founder of SGC is very tight. And the owner of Clean Sweep Auctions said that Foreman is literally the pioneer when it comes to trimming and restoring cards. So when we're talking about trimming cards, cleaning cards, scooping a corner, getting wrinkles out, anything. And our boy Rattle Pokemon had a video today about a trimmed Charizard card. This is still happening to this day, where we got a huge shout out actually in this video. Well, when we start talking about who even thought about trimming cards, one of them was Dave Foreman. Okay. One of the first people to submit cards probably to PSA, probably got banned to PSA. So that's why he started SGC, to peddle his trimmed cards. And you don't have to believe me on that statement, because we can head on over to the Blowout Sports Card Forum. I just kind of wanted to amplify some voices that we don't hear from a lot, but some people that are very important in the hobby. 312-4508 on Check On My Cards is basically the guy who blew up the card trimming scandal. It's a reason why dozens of these articles on Sports Card Radio actually exist, because that guy sat there and did the research and found the trim cards that Moser did, that Robert Block did, that Will Jamett did, that Superior Sports Investment did, that Brant Higgins helped to sell, that Eric Bitts did, that Brian Deere did, that Mr. Insta Trimmer did. A lot of that work, or much of that work, came from 312-4508 on Check On My Cards. He's like the godfather of the blowout police. Here's was his thoughts on the sale. He was responding to a comment saying that, oh, well, SGC basically sold out their customers. His response was, for many years, SGC was a sham company for Dave Foreman to sell his trimmed cards. It was a con from the beginning, just like the Honus Wagner PSA serial numbered 1 card. There was nothing to sell out. So there are actually a lot of people in this hobby who know of SGC not as this kind of COVID hero story, with their rise from being a distant number 3 grader to apparently a number 2 grader. A lot of people know this company as Dave Foreman's company, so that he could peddle his trimmed cards that he had. Over the years, they built a little bit of a reputation for being good at grading vintage cards. And then when PSA shut down during COVID, magically, all this business flooded in. I tell you else who is happy to see SGC and Dave Foreman go. That is Leon, the president and owner of the Net 54 forum that's been around longer than Sports Card Radio, perhaps. He says today he's happy about the sale and thinks it's good. He says, the last time I spoke to SGC at the National, they told me that Dave Foreman was behind the curtain grading cards. Think about that for a minute. Do I really need to say anything else? So I just kind of wanted to bring a little bit of those voices to light because there's a long, long history to SGC, long history as it relates to card trimming and his relationship to some of the top and most notorious scammers this hobby's ever seen. So I think SGC Pete has done a nice job with this company to build it to where it is now. They may have sold for, I think some people were saying $100 million or whatever it is. Congratulations to them. But there are some in the hobby, and I just wanted to bring those voices to light that kind of remember how this company started. And now there's, I guess, a new chapter in the SGC story. What do you think about Dave Foreman, card trimmer, getting rich?
Well, yeah, I don't. This might be a sad day for Dave, right? Like this might actually be a sad day for Dave because his trimming days and going over to SGC and getting him slabbed, maybe that's over. Maybe he takes his talents somewhere else. He takes it over to BGS. He takes it over to CGC. Takes it over to a new grading company. Tag, HGA. I don't know. AGA still slabbing cards. I don't know. But to me, this might be a sad day for Dave because he probably sold the company for, like you said, like a six-digit number, which is not how many digits did Ken Golden say he had in his bank account? 7, 8, 9?
9.
Yeah, 9. So theoretically, Mr. Golden could have bought SGC for well, I guess 100 million is 9 digits. So so I don't know. This might be a sad day. This might actually be a sad day for Dave that he doesn't get to get over his cards, and maybe he was making more doing that because yes, they sold SGC for 100 million, but what's the daily operating cost? What's the marketing cost? What's the talent acquisition cost? What's the setting up at the card show cost? My guess is SGC, if they were profitable, we're talking marginally profitable. There's just these wild dreams inside of this hobby that these companies print money. I always hear it all the time. Oh, Panini's got all this money. You have a picture of the 3 employees. Did you have the Scott Prussia? Here's basically the 3 top employees at Panini. Guys, does this scream money to you? Does this scream elegance and excellence to you? I'm telling you, these are the 3 top guys basically at Panini, some of the longest tenure employees at the company. This is them right here. Does this really scream balling? No, it doesn't. Okay. And Panini's a whole separate case, but these grading card companies, to me, it's one of those businesses when it's hot, like it was during the pandemic or even over the last year or two. When it's hot, it's difficult because you have to scale up. You got all these cards coming in, so you got to hire all these graders, and they got to be sitting there going through all these cards 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You got to order all this plastic to slab the cards in. You got to have all the printers ready to go. You got to have all these bubble mailers and boxes to send all these cards out. You got to have that. But then the card industry booms and busts. It slows down a little bit, or a competitor pops up, CGC or somebody else pops up, or PSA runs a sale or drops their prices or whatever. And then all of a sudden, now you got to scale back down your business. You got to lay it off Johnny Breaker that you just hired. It's not easy. Okay. This is why we keep telling people sports card radio is for sale, and it's probably the most wildly profitable from a gross margin perspective business in the entire hobby. It operates on virtually no employees. The great gentleman over at Blowout Sports Cards, 31978152532 on COMC, this is where we get a lot of our content. Okay, people are criticized was the collectible guru. I think I even did a video where I criticized one of his takes. One thing I won't criticize Collectible Guru on is taking other people's content and repurposing it and putting it on your website, because Sports Card Radio is absolutely a king in the industry of taking checklist, repurposing it, putting it on the website, and then pounding our chest like we're the number one in the hobby. Same thing with card trimming. We took all this information from Blowout. We get a little bit of tips here and there. We get people supporting us, and we put it on our website, and we get to take credit for this, but it really isn't us. We've got the best business model in the hobby. And then we've got Mr. Kim as a super producer that is working for 4.2% equity. So I'm really just looking out for his best interest. I want him to cash out. We want that 9-figure offer. He'll get 4.2% of that, and we'll all ride off into the sunset and meet at Hermosa Beach and have a beer. So hopefully when it's not raining. Yeah, I'm ready to go back to Hermosa when it ain't 9 inches of rain in a weekend. So Sports Card Radio is just absolutely wildly profitable. I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about Dave Foreman, but I actually think this is a sad day for him. And I think this will open up the hanky-panky at these other grading outlets, but none of them have. Here's the thing, though, is like none of them really have the cachet or the ability to drive the sales, because it's like, if you look at the delta between, or the price gap between what a PSA 10 sells for versus SGC 10 versus a CGC 10 and then a BGS 9.5, I mean, we're talking about a huge gap. I was looking at cards all weekend, and I'm like, damn, there's a huge gap oftentimes between these cards. And so does it make sense for Dave Foreman to take his talents over to BGS when it just doesn't make sense? So in some ways, this might be a bad day.
Hang tight.
Okay.
Because it was interesting. This actually comes from a Hobby News Daily, Danny B.
Okay.
Looks like he spoke to Mr. Nate Nat Turner, and he said the company started talking after the company started over how to stop counterfeit cards and a mutual interest in solving the problem. That's how the discussion began about PSA even acquiring, or collectors acquiring SGC. Or you think this was thrown in as fluff?
I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I think the information that we got from, I don't know if you watched Junk Wax Hero's second video. It was just posted shortly before we went live here. But I think his sources are correct. That Collectors wants to go public. They want to piggyback off the Fanatics IPO. So Fanatics might go public this year, might be next year. But Fanatics is going to go public.
I believe that as well. I believe that as well. I'm just saying that maybe it wasn't like those two were meeting each other in the hallway.
He had other information on here saying that this has been something that has been tried and talked about on more than one occasion. That PSA has tried to buy SGC more than once over the years.
Wow.
And so this is not something that was new. Fanatics was also a bidder, and CGC apparently had interest as well. But my guess is the pockets, and again, the incentive for collectors is huge. You all of a sudden acquire the number 2 grader, you fold it into your brand, whether or not they get rid of the SGC brand or not, largely irrelevant. Honestly, I don't think it really matters. They're going to capture all that volume. They're going to capture the collectors. The delta between a PSA 10 and a BGS 9.5 and a CGS 10 is so large. I don't know why anybody would send to any other company. And I'm not sitting here getting paid by PSA. I'm just looking at for my own best interest. If I was to grade a card, I don't understand why you would send it to anybody else. It's a fucking piece of plastic, okay, around the card. And I would send it to the one where the value goes up the most. That looked like George Floyd. I don't know why. Who was that on the first picture? Why from like 10 feet away and after 3 beers, that looks like George Floyd? It's Bill Russell. God bless both men, to be honest with you. Rest in peace, both men. But anyways, so yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I don't believe a word that comes out of these guys' mouth. I think Collectors is doing this for selfish interest. I think Fanatics is going to go public within the next year or two. I think they probably have to. And they're going to create a valuation from a sales price earnings basis, whatever it is, that Collectors is going to be able to piggyback off of. And Collectors might be a better cash flow generating company because they don't have to sink money into products 6 months into advance, sink money into all this marketing. PSA sells itself, guys. Like PSA sells itself. So, where they don't have to have Meek Mill and Tom Brady and all these guys show up at these card shops. Like the stuff just pays itself. They don't have a huge license that they've got to pay and renew and bid up against other people. They don't have to pay 20 to 25, 30% off the top in terms of a licensing. So PSA might be more attractive and more favorable from a financial perspective. So eliminating your biggest competition on the grading side, I think it's a brilliant move. I think it's fantastic. And again, I just look at this as if I had cards to grade, I don't understand why you would be sending to any other company other than PSA. When a 10 is worth so much more and respected so much more than any other grading company, the rest doesn't matter. Yes, I understand the up charges. I understand there's some other stuff that goes on. But at the end of the day, it should be about money. Period. If you're grading your cards, otherwise I don't know why you're grading them. Who cares what the grade is if you're not looking to sell it? So I think this was a great move. I think this is one of the best moves of all time. And if they are looking to go public, this is a great way to clear the decks and clear the competition. And yeah, I think it's great. And I think Collectors should really give us a call. We tuck in very beautifully to the parent company. And maybe we do it for Collector Share. If they're looking to go public, we can do a non-cash deal, guys. Do a non-cash deal. We'll take shares of Collectors. And when you go public, that's when they vest and we cash out along with everybody else.
You are selling it.
I'm keeping my job. Sounds like I'm keeping my job. So at this point, if Sports Card Radio gets bought out, it's all gravy on the biscuit, if you will.
Look, I think if the two companies were serious about coming together that's the ironic thing about the fact that Dave Foreman set this company up to basically peddle his trimmed cards is the whole idea of these grading card companies is to catch that type of stuff and to prevent fraud. And what was Joe Orlando's catch line for many years? Don't get cheated, or whatever he would end those little stupid fucking articles he'd write. Don't get cheated. And yet, to some degree, you could say that SGC was set up by a cheater. You don't have to take my word for it. That's, if this isn't a much strongly worded 3 sentences, I don't know what is. From the guy who, again, he's like Pearl Jam and we're like Creed and Nickelback copying, all his songs. So it's like this guy discovered all the card trimming. So if he says Dave Foreman is a POS for trimming cards, that's how I always knew of SGC. A distant third in grading. If you would have told me 5 years ago that this company was going to sell for whatever, $100 million, if you told me they were going to sell for $1 million, I would have been flat out shocked. But that's the ironic thing. Don't get cheated. SGC set up by a card trimmer. We can get into Beckett in a minute. Their guy who runs their company's literally headed back to prison, most likely. If they are interested in stopping counterfeit cards, reach out to the people who've been trying to prevent this for the better part of a decade. The Rattle Pokemons, the Auburn 35s, the Tiffany's cards, the Super Dans, the Corn Dogs. On YouTube, there's guys like Dan the Cardman, AIH. This guy's been doing work for you over here for free over in Blowout Sports Cards for many years. Many years. So if you are serious about preventing fraud. Reach out to these guys. Rattle Pokemon is being fucking sued by one of these fucking card trimmers.
Got an $80
So
super chat. Those don't come in very often. Key Dog, comeback tour. The $80 US is not Philippines or Canadian.
It actually
No
spells
offense to our Canadian neighbors.
spells boobs in numeric.
Boo, baby. I love it.
Thank you very much. The day is mine. I'll take famous titties for $400. Ryan, why don't you put up the
These are some famous
okay.
things.
She done got a lot up there, but it's not bad. Not bad. Okay, those
Here's
quality.
our football player's wife.
I'll take those for 400.
I think we should analyze. Yes, just the same way we analyze pictures of men. I think it's fair that we at least analyze a couple pictures of women on the show.
Sure,
no problem.
On a Ryan, on a PSA scale here, in the vein of Key Dog comeback tour, when you get an $80 super chat, we pause the show and we start talking about women. He wants famous titties for 400. I'm assuming this is the young lady that is this the young lady that is married or is a girlfriend of the 49er guy, a fullback, I think. Okay. So on a PSA scale, where are you putting Miss Kristen here? Total package. Okay. It's a whole package thing, not just, one or the other.
Having never met her, which is a struggle because she could be really annoying, and then that drops her down a notch. I would say anywhere in the 8.5 range.
I would say yes. I would say that's a strong 8.5. She has quite a bit of makeup on at the moment. I would like to see her in a more natural environment. I actually could bump it up to a 9 if it looks like this. Without
you could come by tonight, and we could find out everything we need to know.
The stream would end very quickly if she showed up at your door. I can imagine, or maybe it would continue and we'd get bigger than $80 super chats.
I have a million viewers.
Let's go to Miss Robbie, who I think this is.
Do you know this guy who just did a $10 super chat? That logo, that B logo that he has with the wings in it. That's literally my logo that I've made, and he stole it.
Oh, we got a thief.
Maybe that's why he has $10 to donate to Sports Card Radio.
Yeah.
He didn't have to pay for his logo.
Yeah, you saved money on the artist. Literally took my logo.
I would say these days ChatGPT is amazing at logos. It just can't spell. It just can't spell very well. Like I've never can get it to spell the website name right, but boy, that has cut some time down on the logo making. Now, Ryan, Miss Robbie here with probably some hair extensions and some other things going on. What would you grade this?
Because of her status in life, I think you have to go 9.
True. If her bank account comes with it, now we're talking, because this girl is probably mega rich. I think she bought the rights to that Barbie movie. So she she came up with that herself, basically. Like she was the reason why that movie got made. It wasn't like the studio presented to her. She got that herself. So she's probably loaded with that Chanel bag. So yeah. Okay. Solid grades. The $10 super chat came from Title City's Mike, who we might have to confront. Might have to have a little conversation with Title City Mike. Apparently, the Blitzen logo is hijacked, and we might need a little bit more than
100%. That's mine.
That's your okay. Wow.
You can still content off blowout cards, but yeah, you got to be careful when it's still in the logo.
We'll send the $10. I tell you what, after the show, we'll PayPal Tim the $10 for the logo.
Deal.
And he can have what is it, a burrito at the Hermosa Beach place. I was gonna have a burrito. The place was closed.
You're gonna buy me a coffee here, like what?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, the burritos are more than 10. Boobs topic will get you canceled. Careful, don't be fooled. Okay, we'll keep it we'll keep it we'll keep it clean. Although with Google, never mind. We won't talk about Google. Okay, back on topic. Ryan, anything more on the PSA and SGC drama in the buyout that has happened there?
The thing I noticed that kind of surprised me was that it was one of the first times where I saw, first of all, there are SGC fanboys, there are PSA fanboys, there used to be the Beckett boys and the Beckett fanboys. This is one of the first times where I saw some big news in the hobby, and it was like both sets of fanboys were upset. The SGC fanboys were upset, the PSA fanboys were upset. So I just found that to be interesting because that's actually pretty rare. You know, a scandal will come out, maybe some trimmed cards, and people could look at these PSA trimmed cards. And if you're a Beckett fanboy, if you're a SGC fanboy, you could point the finger and say, look, PSA sucks. They don't know how to grade vintage cards. Look at that. They're passing all these cards. This is one of the first times where on both sides of the aisle, I don't think, people really knew what to expect. So PSA Hall of Famer Logan Ward says, I'm a PSA fanboy. You know, he's got very good reason because he is literally in the PSA Hall of Fame. So shout out to Logan Ward. So, I mean, for me personally, I found that to be interesting. If I were to give some free advice to SGC, if they are to remain a separate company, apparently those are the plans, that SGC Pete will stay on board, maybe pick up some stock options and maybe cash out at some point. But if SGC is going to be a similar company, I was kind of thinking, maybe they should go like mid-90s NWO style and kind of interfaction rivalry, company rivalry. So NWO came into WCW and kind of said, oh, we're taking over. We're these old WWE wrestlers and we're going to come in and we're going to take over this company. And I'm wondering if SGC could do some clever marketing, perhaps with some tuxedos and with some of their employees. And hey, if they are going to remain an independent companies, they do have to stand out, whether that maybe is just on price. Maybe it's $22 to grade at PSA and it's $12 at SGC. I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. I think they would want to try to raise the price of grading. Maybe one of the reasons why for this sale. But SGC, if they are going to remain an independent company, they're going to have reasons to stand out. And I know they do these like grading specials with Bowman where it's $9 grading and all this kind of different stuff. They're going to have to stand out. So maybe some unique marketing where you're taking on the giant at PSA and you're trying to, continue to take their business or continuing to try to grade more cards. So that would be if the intention is to keep these companies separate. But I guess once they become public,
very interesting. I think that would be very interesting from a marketing perspective, is to go ahead and acquire it inside the hobby, but then have Pete almost kind of stand on his own and like almost thumb his nose to PSA and keep the prices low, promise different types of service levels. And then PSA is like, nope, we're the golden boys. We're a higher standard. We deserve to get paid more. Our service times can stretch out. You have to be a part of the collectors club, XYZ. Very risky from a marketing standpoint, but would be very, very interesting. In fact, I'd have so much respect if that's the direction they went, because that shows you, man, you have some leaders. You have a leadership with balls of steel if you go that route. The easy route is what I discussed, is you let this meander on for 8 months, 9 months, and then sometime in the beginning of 2025, you come out with just a 2-paragraph press release thanking SGC Pete, thanking Dave Foreman, thanking the team at SGC, but has been folded over into PSA. And because they're located, I think, on the East Coast, it allows some synergies. You have a West Coast, East Coast office, but now everything is PSA. And for $5, you can reslab all your PSAs, all your SGC slabs over to PSA. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. because I think that's the more corporate thing to do. But what you described would be very incredible from a marketing perspective. That if you had inside of collectors, both companies kind of going at each other, very interesting. I think both probably spell disaster for any competition out there, particularly Beckett, which is a distance fourth place at this point. And by that guy's haircut, it doesn't.
Can we talk
me.
about that? Can we talk about Beckett,
please?
Okay, Beckett is not owned by Dr. Beckett anymore. They're owned by like some kind of holding company. And anybody who finds the article that says that the holding company that writes Beckett, they never sell companies. That's like that was like a motto of the company. So somebody should go out and find that article. If you find it, send it to me. I'll shout you out on Sports Card Radio because it exists. Because I researched this many years ago when Lindenberg took over the company, and people have been talking about these grading companies merging or blah, blah, blah for many, many years. But apparently, Greg Lindenberg and the holding company, they don't sell companies. So that's why Beckett probably isn't for sale and hasn't been sold, because they own like hundreds of companies, and Beckett is one of them. Well, Beckett is probably the least of this guy with the fucking weird haircuts worries, to be honest, guys. Like literally the last of his worries, because he was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison recently. Well, because he probably has a lot of money and some expensive lawyers, he was able to get this overturned, the Fourth U.S. Court of Appeals, throughout the original verdict. He was convicted on a bunch of, he was bribing the insurance commissioner, a politician, for more than $2 million. I believe in North Carolina. So nothing to do with cards, nothing to do with card trimming, but kind of much higher on the food chain. This guy was trying to bribe politicians. Anyways, he was sentenced to 7 years. He was starting to serve that sentence. Looks like he got out of jail. And now he is going back to court on May 6th. So this is the guy who controls the purse strings over at Beckett. He's got a lot going on. It wouldn't even shock me if he didn't even know about PSA and SGC purchasing each other today. That's how poorly run, and that's how distant the management probably is over at BGS. And that's probably why they're not for sale and they couldn't be bought, because this guy literally just got out of jail and is trying to save his ass starting May 2nd on a second retrial. So do you have any thoughts about Beckett, Greg Lindenberg, and how well this man would hold up in prison with a haircut looking like that?
I don't know. He's probably pulling all kinds. If he was doing some bribes and stuff, he's probably pulling all kinds of strings in prison. So he could, he could be on the team that is just pulling all the strings. And he's just running the game inside of prison. I certainly don't want to figure out how I would survive or anybody would survive in prison. But with the kind of cash this guy apparently might have, I'm glad he's used the justice system to his advantage, and it sounds like he's weaseled his way out of a 7-year sentence, and maybe he's going to be able to get that reduced, if not totally eliminated. I don't think Beckett is necessarily going to go out of business, like you said. That they've leaned these organizations down to the smallest common denominator at this point. But are they going to go from 4th place back to number 2, or maybe even arguably number 1 where they were? Absolutely not. It's just, I guess nothing would surprise me, since it would have surprised me 7 years ago that SGC would come in a solid number 2 to PSA, and Beckett would basically be like, nobody would care about that company. Nobody would want to send their company, their cards to them. I mean, look at this. Items graded yesterday, 3,000. Doesn't seem like a lot. And even if you're making what, 8, I mean, I don't think their margins are that high. I don't think they're making $5 a card. Even if you were, okay, you made $15,000 yesterday. It's not that much for a large company with a lot of expenses. And compared to PSA, which graded yesterday 76,000 cards. I mean, Beckett is a bad month from being completely irrelevant in the hobby.
Terrible numbers for Beckett.
It's just and considering where they were, it's a disgrace. But it is a sign of ownership at that company. Oftentimes in the sports car world, these companies get bought by these, these conglomerates that don't really care about anything, but other than let's have the minimum number of employees that'll work for the minimum amount of money, and let's just skim money off the top of this business. Since it is kind of a sleepy industry, as much as we enjoy this hobby, it's kind of a sleepy industry because the same 2 or 3 graders have been at it for a long time. And yeah, you've had HGA pop up. You've had CGC more recently. You've had Tag. You've had other ones come up. But they don't do anything. They don't even register on the radar. And in Beckett's case, no, go ahead.
You know what I saw on Facebook today? Somebody posted in the, I don't know if you know, you named about a dozen grading companies there, but did you know there's a forensic card grading?
Oh my God.
So anyways, there's a forensic card grading on Facebook. Somebody posted on Facebook with the Darren Ravel tweet, and they said, "Oh, is forensic card grading going to take up market share?" And I'm like, wow, some fucking morons in this hobby.
I just, to me, it's like, I mean, to me, it's almost like, oh, I want to buy some basketball sneakers. And it's like, oh, should I buy some Asics, guys? I hear Asics is really coming up in the basketball world. It's like, no, bro, buy some Nikes. And if for some reason you don't want to buy Nike, maybe you buy some Adidas. And that's it. That's it. You want to buy like a snow or the watch. A watch is perfect example. You want to buy a nice watch. Okay, you don't want to buy Rolex. I get it. Oh, you don't want to buy Patek. Okay, I get it. Oh, you don't want to buy AP. All right. Oh, you're going to go buy Seiko. You're going to go buy Citizen. You're going to go buy Cartier. It's like, stop it. Just stop. Do you really call yourself a watch connoisseur if you don't buy a Rolex, you don't buy an AP, you don't buy a Patek, but you'll go buy a Seiko? If you don't grade with PSA, you don't grade with SGC, you don't grade with Beckett, you don't grade with CGC, but I'm going to go grade with forensic. In life, it's okay to go rogue or go outside the box every once in a while. With card grading, it makes no sense. Because I don't know, can you look at these guys' prices? Like forget all this like computer bullshit. Like how much does it cost? It's $14 per card. Okay, I get it. They're probably $10 cheaper than PSA. But if you get a forensic 10, that card. Right, yeah. Good luck selling that card for more than what it goes for raw. You might as well have sold that Mike Trout car raw, then paid $14 to get it slabbed. Whereas if it gets slabbed PSA 10, how much more does it go for over a raw one? If it gets slabbed PSA 9, how much does it go more than just a raw one? Even PSA 8, maybe not in the case of the Mike Trout, but certain cards. You can just light your $14 on fire.
Well, here's the other thing. You can buy cards like this Mike Trout, and you can guarantee that motherfucker's trimmed because they sent it to PSA, they sent it to SGC, they sent it to Beckett, they sent it to all the other guys, and it got rejected. Or it was from one of the guys that Rattle Pokemon is talking about, or ComC blowout detective guy, or one of the guys we have on our website. You can guarantee this motherfucker's trimmed.
And the hobby's smart. They know that. Like the people that buy these cards, they know this. The person buying your card knows that. They know, like, oh, it's in an FGC slab because it got sent to PSA and it got sent back. Like they know this. This is just an imitator. Like FGC is like an imitator of Beckett. They have the same slab, the same subgrades. It's like an imitation, guys. It's like, oh, I won't buy Nike, but I'll go to Payless shoe stores and buy the sneakers with a check mark. Like, you're saving $30 on the sneakers. But it what do you get out of it? Same with this garbage, $14. This is the lowest they can grade, probably. This is the lowest the price can probably get.
Yeah. This is as low as it gets.
They probably make $4. I bet that after all is said and done, the reason why it's $14 is that they make $4 a card. That's the profit. And it's just not enough. But PSA is what, $24 right now for a card in the collector's club?
Something like that.
So it's $10 more. It's not that much more.
In bulk, it's 15.
15. And then you can go to one if you trust the submitter or whatever. I bet you can get the price down lower than that. Now I understand they have upcharges, but if you have multi-$1,000 card, $100 to grade it is not that much. And God, guys, I wish PSA was paying me to tell you this. Okay, I wish they were. Really, I wish PSA was paying me to tell you how great their service is and that you should use it. I really do. Unfortunately, they don't. Value $24.99, so it's $10 more, but you get value bulk for $18.99. And understand, $14 at HGA Forensic, you get your card back faster, but who cares?
It's trimmed.
It's trimmed. Who cares?
It may not be the one you sent in.
And it's not like it's worth any more when you get it back. So I don't know. I wouldn't send anything. I just don't understand. Like I said, if you're in the market to buy a really nice acoustic guitar, you should buy a Martin, a Taylor, a Gibson. Oh, but you're going to go buy an Epiphone? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense, guys. You're going to buy your wife a nice purse. You're going to pass on Louis. You're going to pass on Hermes. You're going to pass on Chanel, but you're going to buy her a Coach? It's like, are you really, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me, especially in the business of cards where this is all so subjective. We're certainly not sitting here saying that PSA grades these cards any better or they do a better job than any of these companies. In fact, that's probably not the case. But in terms of value, that's what you're paying for. What else are you paying for? I think someone laughed at my comment where, like, if you're not paying to grade the card to increase the value, what are you paying for? Like really, what are you paying for? When you send it to HGA or one of these other cards for $14, why did you pay them $14 to slab your card if it's not to increase the value and the marketability of that card? Otherwise, just light the $14 on fire and put the card in your safe and go buy another one. Doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense.
You don't like the pretty labels on HGA? You don't like the pretty custom labels?
They could have the prettiest labels in the business. It doesn't matter. There are watch brands that aren't Rolex, aren't Patek, aren't AP that make nicer watches from a horology perspective, but nobody cares. I have every shoe I own is Nike. Okay. Other than maybe a pair of dress shoes. I buy Nike because I've owned the stock for 20 years. But there are other shoemakers out there that make way better, higher quality shoes than Nike. My Nike shoes constantly fall apart. But at the end of the day, you want to look good when you're wearing a pair of shoes. What is it about? It's a little bit about comfort, but it's more about style and looking good. And a pair of Nikes looks good. And with grading, what are you grading for? You're grading to protect the card? It's called Ultra Pro, guys. Yeah, I don't get it. That's a beautiful card. There was some nice cards up on Golden. Maybe we transition into a second topic, but I scanned the cards on Golden this week. They looked good. That was a nice card. I think I even bid on there was a Hakeem Olajuwon autographics card. I think I bid on that, but I don't think I ended up being high bid. That's a nice card. It's a cool card.
It'll go for less. It's in a Beckett holder.
Nothing wrong with that. That's also a nice card.
I never liked their holders, to be honest. I felt they were cheap.
I don't either. I don't like the label. I actually, to be honest with you, I prefer the old holder with the green label. Like I prefer that. I didn't like the 100-point scale or whatever they had, but I'm not a huge fan of this. Their label. It's not that great. I think PSA, just from a visual perspective, and maybe it's just like a Nike swoosh or something at this point, it just looks better. But I just think that looks better. The red just looks better. Just in the clear case, just looks better. I don't mind Beckett's holder either. I can see why Beckett for many years was the choice of many modern cards. This ON02 Kareem got sent to BGS because this is what you did in that era. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that holder at all. I like the different foil. I like the different color foil for the different grades. I like that. Yeah, I saw that. That was nice. That was solid. There was another Tiger too. There was a second one.
But this card would not be in a PSA holder unless it was crossed over in the last few years.
Right. Never. You would have never sent that to PSA. So the hobby can change. Maybe we'll sit here in 6-7 years and I'll be like, hey, I was wrong. Everybody's sending to SGC or everybody's sending to CGC, or one of these upstarts have all of a sudden turned into number one. I just don't. Card fondlers are so loyal. Like, they're so loyal. They're loyal. They're loyal to Topps and Panini the same way they're loyal to the teams that they root for. They grew up a Giants fan. They're a PSA fan. They grew up a PSA fan. They grew up a Panini fan. They're a Panini fan. It's hard to get people to switch brands. You get these newbies in here, and then it's like Star Stock and SGC and HGA. These newbies kind of like don't understand the pecking order, but at some point it kind of all evens out and it all flows to the top. And we now have a top grading company that
we've never seen
90% of the business.
Yeah, we never seen that before. That's why I would find it hard pressed. You said, hey, things change in this hobby, and certainly we saw something change today. I don't know if you guys are just tuning in or you're under a rock, but Collectors, the holding company that owns PSA among other companies, purchased SGC, essentially aligning, according to data from even yesterday, the two top graders in the sports card space together in marriage. So we've never seen anything like that. When it was back, when these Tiger Woods cards was being graded in 2003, it was more of a neck and neck. You sent your modern cards to Beckett. You sent the old guys loved PSA. Yeah. You had the set registry, you had the Hall of Fame, and so on and so forth. But you sent cards like this to Beckett. But we can't go back and look at these old numbers from 2003 or whatever. But it was first of all, a lot less cards were being graded, but it was still a tighter spread. I don't believe at any point Beckett could 10x their business. And we might talk about somebody who's trying to 10x their business. Beckett could 10x their business, and they're still not even doing like half of what PSA is doing. So it's incredible, the gap between PSA and the other ones. And, it just all boils down to branding and trust. I think there's a lot of podcasts out there and they want to analyze how these companies grade these cards.
I think it's trust and the history. Like, PSA has the longest skin in the game.
They certainly have.
There's a certain level of like respect that they get just because, and they have like everything's online. Like, you can look up every card that PSA has graded. There's a lot of little things that they do correctly that collectors like. And yeah, they have their hiccups, like they have their mess ups, but that I mean every other company has like even bigger mess ups. I think the biggest thing with PSA is like the like anytime you send in for grading, the bigger thing is like making sure it's a legitimate card to begin with.
The real.
And then the grading is like the secondary thing, I guess. But a lot of like newbies don't understand that aspect either.
I think they trust the number, way too much, or they're chasing a certain number when it's, hey, you can catch a guy on a good day or a bad day, and it might be an 8, it might be a 10. And actually what it used to be, and we talked about Joe Clemens on one of the other shows, it used to be who you were in the hobby. And it used to be, if you didn't like the grades you got at PSA, if you were Dave Foreman, who was one of the first people to probably ever submit at PSA, quite literally, probably one of the first people to ever submit at PSA. Him and his brother Scotty are on the anonymous trimmer list. They're also on the Mastro show bidder list. I mean, Dave Foreman is like in the Hall of Fame of sports card scammers, if that's something you want to be in. But I mean, he set up this company because he probably got banned from PSA, and then he needed to put his cards into some holders and to try to sell them. That's how this company started, was from a card trimmer who probably got banned from PSA and needed to put some cards in a holder. So there are some people, I went over them, that are, probably a little sour taste in their mouth today for, what happened. That a scammer kind of maybe did get one on over. Now, is he a reformed scammer? That's what I heard, that he's a reformed scammer. And then, hey, you got to have a card trimmer in the building because he knows all the tricks and he knows what to look for when these cards come into the office. I'm not totally convinced of that, but this is a heck of a move that happened today. Or yesterday, I guess. Late last night, all this news broke. And a lot of people are excited. And a lot of the fanboys, I don't know if you heard when I said this, a lot of the fanboys on both sides of the aisle are upset. But PSA fanboys are upset. Yeah. They don't want to acknowledge that an SGC 10 might be a PSA 10 because for years
this would be like the MLB consolidating and the Dodgers and the Giants become the same team, or the Lakers and the Celtics become the same organization because the NBA is going from 30 teams down to 15 or something, and they consolidate teams into one. So and again, this comes from a fanboy ideology that exists in this hobby, where you look at these companies like you do the sports team you grew up watching. You look at PSA and you're loyal to them. You look at them the same way you do your mom and dad. You look at them the same way your children, like you're loyal to your children. Yeah. Whereas I look at this crap as just economics. If I'm going to grade a card, I'm going to use PSA because it's going to mean the most for my wallet. At the end of the day, all I care about is my wallet. And if you want to buy a picture of a man and care about something other than your wallet, by all means, go ahead and do that. But we're talking about pictures of men, slapping them in plastic. And the only reason why I would take a picture of a man and slab it in plastic with another man's opinion on the condition of that picture of man, the only reason why I would actually pay to do that is to increase the value of my wallet. Otherwise, I don't give a fuck. I would put that card in my safe, close the safe, and call it a day.
Some people like the look. Some people think this.
I think that's what they say.
Certain graders.
I think that's what they say. I
give better grades.
Bullshit.
That's what they say to fool themselves.
Yeah. That's like Margaret Robbie coming up and asking you for a date, but you're like, no, I'm going to go with this girl, my home girl over here that's 30 pounds overweight, doesn't have a job because she's my home girl. Stop it. Stop. If a 10 comes ask you for a date, you should say yes. And that's what PSA does. PSA is the Margaret Robbie of the hobby in terms of grading. And she's coming to you asking for you to date her. And a lot of you guys say no. You say no, I'd rather go to forensic grading. I don't want to date an award-winning millionaire actress that's smoking hot. I don't want to do that, guys. I'd rather go to forensic grading and just burn my money over there. Stay out of the spotlight. Be rogue.
Let me ask you one more question. Let me ask you one more question about SGC. Why do you think they blew up? Because I mean, you and I remember the days where it was BGS and PSA. I mean, this company was literally a distant third. It only existed to grade Dave Foreman's trimmed cards and probably all his buddies too. Why do you think they blew up? Was it because they did hire a lot of influencers? Was it influencers? Was it SGC Pete? Was it Beckett's guy going to prison? What was it?
So
how'd they get to fucking number 2?
So I think they've done some smart things over the past couple of years. They went from the green label holder and the 100-point scale. They simplified that. That took some nutsack. That took some leadership. And I think that move certainly was good. They were delivering on their turnaround times from a price perspective. From a price perspective, they are comparable to the BGSs, to the other ones. And so, in my opinion, if you're not going to go with the big guy, you come to this guy. And then my understanding is if you use a group submitter, you can get the price down on SGC grades under $8-9 a card, is my understanding. That if you use a group submitter, like you are half off of $14 a card. And so that's probably what's driving a lot of the that's what's driving, in my opinion, probably a lot of the volume, is that there's not many people paying $14 a card. There's a lot of people paying $6-7 a card to drive that volume. And that's why when I said, when SGC sells, this is not a company that's just printing money, that's just, driving Lamborghinis and wearing Rolexes and balling. But I think PSA recognizes that, and they say, well, if we can eliminate these guys, stop these people paying $8 a card, $6 a card to send their cards in, make them pay $15. Then we close that end of the business, and then it's, do you send your cards to PSA or do you send it to Beckett? And at that point, it's a pretty easy decision.
Hopefully SGC Pete does upgrade his car, because when we were talking, we did talk about his automobile he rolled up to work in. So hopefully,
what's he cruising in?
I don't want to blow up his spot, but my guess is today was a good day for him, and probably a good day for his car dealership and his car dealer. Let's just say he was rolling around in like a
PSA 6.
No, he was rolling around on like a FCG 7.5. So
okay, right.
He should be able to upgrade to the PSA.
And look, life is not all about what kind of car you roll up in, what kind of watch you have, what kind of shoes you have on. But guys, we are on this earth for a very short period of time. We're talking about barely a blink of an eye. We're on this earth. I know some of you guys want to live that Dave Ramsey lifestyle, where you save every penny, you're eating top ramen, and you barely enjoying life. I'm not one of those people. I think you're on this earth for a very short period of time. You should treat yourself. You should live as luxuriously as you possibly can, because when you die, on your tombstone, they don't put your credit score. They don't put how much money you had in your bank. They don't put your credit card balance. They don't put how poorly you manage your money.
What if you have felonies?
Live your life, guys. Maybe they put, yeah. Mike Smith would need maybe an extra level to his tombstone. And maybe this young man as well from Beckett. Explain the number of felonies. Guys, live your life and have fun.
And splurge on some PSA slabs. If you're thinking about going HGA or FCG, guys, walk you off the ledge over here.
An extra $2 is not that much. Fucking not that much. It's like, oh, there's a Rolex sub here for 10. and there's a Seiko automatic quartz movement for 10, and you guys buy the Seiko. I can't help you if that's you guys. It's, hey, I'm gonna go vacation in Malibu for $14.99, or I'm gonna go vacation in the desert in Nevada for $14.99. Guys, I can't help you if you ain't
Shots
choosing
fired on
Malibu.
Nevada. Yeah.
I got no problem with Nevada, but I'm on the strip. Okay, I'm on the strip.
Okay.
I ain't in the desert. I've driven through Nevada. It ain't pretty until you get to the strip. Ask Margaret Robbie.
All right. Should we bid on some cards?
Bid on some cards, some Kareems. What is that? Britney Spears? What is
This
this?
is Britney Spears. This is like on her. She
Oh.
made her own Beanie Babies. It looks like.
Oh wow, fantastic!
So she signed
Wow,
it.
look at that. It's yummy. Wow. We are going to have a new grift over here at Sports Card Radio. I will announce that formally. I don't have it completely set up yet, but we are going to set up a new grift here at
Ooh, I
Sports
like
Card
that.
Radio. We are going to have a membership here on YouTube. It will be set up in the next couple of weeks. I don't know when, but for the top end membership, there's going to be a scrub tier. I don't know if Google is going to approve our names of the tiers. There's going to be 3 different tiers. There's going to be a scrub tier where if you're a scrub and you can only afford to pay Sports Card Radio $1 to $2 a month, you basically are a scrub and you might get a badge by your name on the live stream. There's going to be a middle tier where it's going to give you access to free break. We're going to give free breaks every month. Not to everybody on the tier, but you get a chance to get into a break. And then we're going to have like an elite tier where I think we take some of the cards we buy, Ryan, and we kind of put it on the website. And then anyone in the elite tier can like choose a card. You know what I mean? Like if they paying us $25 a month, I think they should get a card or something like that. And then we're going to create some merch. We're going to have a t-shirt, limited drop t-shirt. Something like that, hopefully before the National, so people can wear this stuff. Loosely, the brand might be Card Fondler. And that's the idea that I have. But we're going to have a new grift. So when I saw you bidding on those boxes, when we have these boxes of cards, we open them up and we give people, people that are part of our membership tier, not the scrub tier, but one of the higher tiers, we give them access to that. I like
the
this.
Will Greers and the Ryan Finley.
Phoenix Rising says there's going to be a scrub tier, a scammer tier, and a Bill Mastro tier. I do like the Mastro tier in particular. We will have a Mastro tier.
I love that. And I actually, I met Phoenix Rising very recently. So shout out to Phoenix Rising.
Shout out to Phoenix Rising with a very good idea. I think we'll have 3 different tiers.
Like a Seiko tier, Rolex tier,
right? An AP
a Margaret Robbie tier, Margaret Robbie.
Robbie tier. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, who's the low end? I don't know. Like,
we got to be careful. You got to be careful. You don't want to offend anybody.
Be careful. Yeah, maybe a Dylan Mulvaney tier is the bottom tier.
Okay.
Wow. Google my.
What's his name?
Google my.
Justin Gamble's date.
Like he really wants my logo.
Hey, he's hooking you up this 15 where you're up to 15, which I actually, if you go on a Fiverr, $15 for a logo is actually pretty solid. I'm negotiating on behalf of both of you, but I think Title City Sports Mike with the $15 for the logo, I think he's being more than fair here at this point.
That's hilarious.
But it's up to you. It's your work. I'm gonna let you decide. But I'm thinking $15 is pretty fair considering you go to ChatGPT and crank out a logo pretty awesome with a click of the button at this point. Mid-Journey too, although you got to pay $10 a month for Mid-Journey, or I do at least. I don't know if you have to pay, but
I just find glee in the him admitting fault basically.
I think he's done that, and I think we'll forgive. I think we'll forgive him.
Yeah, I'm fine with. I'm fine.
Okay, you're fine with it. Okay. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm gonna forgive him at this
Can
point.
we have a Betsy
Point of
tier?
life.
Can we have a Betsy tier to the?
Oh, there we
the
go.
Betsy tier?
We can have a Betsy. What's the high end tier? This is a great
That's what that
discussion.
B stands for, Betsy.
She could be the B tier. What's the A tier, the S class of sports card radio tier in terms of ladies in the hobby? I think we've got some ones that qualify. We've got Alex from Golden Show. I think she's an A tier. We have some of the other young ladies, maybe Miss Rips. The lovely Miss Rips could qualify for an A tier. She Breaks, I think, is another one that could I don't know if she's in that A tier, but you know, she could squeak in with enough votes. I don't know, Ryan, inside of the hobby, you're a single man. You're on the dating apps and those types of things, so you're around a lot of these single females. In terms of females in the hobby, who's in that A S tier of the hobby?
I think all the women are beautiful, so they all belong in the A tier. So no, I'm not going to PSA grade the women in the hobby tonight.
Okay.
So
all right.
What else do you want to talk about? You want to talk about
Oh, the lovely Candace. I forgot the lovely Candace too. I think she could easily be in that. She could easily be tossed in that A tier. Be a tough race. I think it'd be tough. Okay. So we definitely have some
Betsy might be watching too. I don't want to offend her if I start talking about other chicks. So I don't want to offend Betsy. So
all right.
Just trying to be a gentleman. Just trying to be a gentleman over here.
I think out of all the influencers, we've milked this SGC. Now we've digressed the past 2 minutes, but we've milked this SGC topic for all we're worth. We're an hour 20 in. I think that's all we've talked about. What we still have our CardsHQ topics to get to. So make sure you hang with us, all 740 strong of you. We do appreciate it. Hit that like button on YouTube. And thank you very much for joining the show and making Sports Card Radio the #1 most watched live stream in this hobby that doesn't give a goddamn thing to anybody that's watching, although that will change when we have the different tiers of membership that people will be paying for over here at Sports Card Radio. What else? I know we had that 1 of 1 story as it relates to tops. I think it's just another mistake in the long line. Here's my comment. So for those of you that don't know, you had these first cards, which I saw that Tops or one of their minions on Twitter kind of advertised. So you're supposed to have these first cards. It was supposed to have this first card foil stamp over the logo, and then on the back it was supposed to have 1 of 1. And so these were 1 of 1, the first cards off the line, if you will, and they were going to be labeled 1 of 1. And I saw this and I was like, okay, this is kind of it's just another gimmick that they come up with. But here, so they screwed this up. Apparently it doesn't have this it does have 1 on 1 on the back. So it does say 1 of 1 on the back, but what it doesn't have is this first card on the front. So as the breakers especially are flipping through these cards, you might be looking for this first card logo, but it's not going to be there. Same with you. If you're just flipping through the cards, not everybody is flipping the card on the back and looking at the back and looking for a serial number, especially when there's not a different color foil or an image variation or whatever. These are the exact same cards, just with 1 of 1 on the back. They were supposed to have this first card on the front. What I'm wondering is, this is probably, from a revenue perspective, one of the biggest revenue drivers for all of Tops, and maybe for all of Fanatics at this point. This might be one of the biggest revenue, and I don't know about from a profit perspective, but just from a sales dollars perspective, this is huge for them. These packs and these cards are everywhere. Okay. How do you not? So I'm just thinking about, okay, the person that QC quality controls this. Okay. They go, let me see, make sure this doesn't have, okay. So you go with your Tops checklist to the factory. How can you not have like a checklist like this and say, okay, there's these cards with first cards on them, and they're going to be number 1 on 1 on the back. They're supposed to have first card foil on the front and 1 on 1 on the back. How do you not at this factory? Again, Tops owns the factory now. So there used to be the excuse, oh, well, they don't own the factory, guys. Oh, they don't own the factory. So it's not their fault. Okay, I get that. All right. If you want to be a fucking dick licker and you want to make that excuse, go ahead. That's fine. That's a great excuse. But now Topps actually owns the fucking factory that they make these cards at. How do you not have an employee there with a checklist of there are these first card coming off the press? I don't know when they come off the press. Maybe they're first, maybe they're not. It doesn't matter. But when they come off the press, I am checking. Foil stamp on the front, first card, 1 of 1 on the back. Okay. Oh, SP variation. There's these 30 cards that are supposed to be SP variation. I'm gonna make sure that and Topps has gotten that wrong, right? Topps Chrome, either last year or the year before. What didn't have in there? Didn't have the Topps Chrome SP variations of Julio Rodriguez, I think Bobby Witt, and a few other key rookies in there. More than once, this company has made this mistake.
Well, we've seen it go the other way. The superfractors, where there were actually 2 superfractors.
There's 2 superfractors. How do you not have somebody in the factory with a list of the stuff that's supposed to be in the product, and you say, okay, they're these superfractor cards, and they're supposed to be 1 of them. Oh, wait a second. There's 2 of them, guys. How do you not have this? How long have they been making baseball cards, Ryan? How long have they been manufacturing and making baseball cards? Since the 1800s, and maybe more than, quote, modern card. We're talking about damn near 100 years of making baseball cards. And you can't consistently get it right. I don't get it. I don't get it. And this is why I get on this channel and I talk about brands like Rolex, like Louis Vuitton. When's the last time, guys, you've heard Louis Vuitton put out a purse? Oh, it didn't have the LV monogram on it. Have you guys heard about that? Oh, because it doesn't happen. When have you heard about, Rolex put out this watch? It was missing the second hand, guys. Did you guys hear about how Rolex put out a watch and it didn't have the second hand? Oh, wait a second. Because it doesn't fucking happen. Or how about I bought a Mercedes? Oh, but it didn't have the steering wheel. Didn't have the steering. I bought a G-Wagon, Ryan.
Wasn't painted.
Ryan, I bought the G-Wagon and I bought it in green. And when they delivered it, it didn't have any paint on it. Didn't have any paint on it. I paid $250,000 for a G-Wagon and it didn't have paint. You don't hear about it because it doesn't happen. Do mistakes happen? Do recalls happen? Do quality control issues happen at Nike and Louis Vuitton and Rolex? Of course they do. Of course they do. But we're talking about very simple things that you can have a list when you're at the factory and say, these first off the press cards are supposed to exist and they're supposed to have foil stamping on the front and 1 of 1 on the back. And you should check that before the cards make their way into the back. It doesn't make any sense, guys. Doesn't make any sense. And it's unfortunate.
These will get worse and worse. And so that's why I'm loving that, Fanatics better send us an offer like the one that SGC got, so that we're not highlighting these mistake after mistakes on these live streams for who knows well into the future. I mean, I don't know if people are following the MLB jersey debacle and how they're see-through and the lettering on the back isn't as good. I've seen some samples of the Giants jerseys and it kind of makes you want to go back and buy one of the previous years. It wouldn't shock me if something similar happens with cards, especially as they gather all the licenses. All the employees will be very overworked. I'm not surprised that they're putting out a few baseball sets right now because it's really one of the few things that they have to work on. They have a couple college products that come out, but those are probably less than half a dozen, maybe a year. Once they get football and basketball online from the Panini license, oh my God. I mean, this is the mistakes will be almost weekly, probably, from these companies. Right now, they can just focus on baseball and do a good job probably marketing and some of these things. But this company is going to be stretched very thin. Going to be a lot of anger and resentment in the hobby towards Fanatics. It's coming. It's coming. you're going to have a lot of dealers and influencers and stuff kind of try to push that back, but there's going to be a lot of resentment, and this will be probably like a fairly minor mistake compared to what we'll see. We'll probably have a 10-parter at some point on some kind of mistake that Fanatics made. So certainly looking forward to that. Can I give two shout outs?
Please do.
Real quick. One relating to our video last week, but hey, our boy SCV Sports Cards over here, Mark Zuckerberg unlocked his Instagram account. How many
Thank God.
followers he got? He's got 2180. Dude, can we get him to fucking
Let's get him to like
2200
25
by the end of the come on, let's get
the end of the night?
our
Okay.
boy. Yeah, by the end of the night, let's get him at least 20 followers on Instagram. Our boy got Mark Zuckerberg unlocked his Instagram. That's right. SCV Sports Cards gonna be unleashed over on Instagram. So you guys want to go over there and follow him. I think him, this Cardboard Life, AIH, Dan the Card Man, and you. I think you're the only 5 males that I follow, and then I think the rest on Instagram are all females. And Mark, I definitely follow. I definitely follow our girl Kristen Uchek. That's for damn sure. So
Really?
we're following very, very, very few men in the Instagram profile, but SCV Sports Cards, he just got his Instagram account unlocked, so he's going to be putting content over there. But I also want to point out that we spoke about Check Out My Cards last week very forcefully. You guys want to probably check out that live stream if you want to see us getting very talking quite passionately about Check Out My Cards. Well, because we were getting blown up about their service times and their shipping delays and whatnot. Well, you can't say that Sports Card Radio never did anything for the hobby, because it looks like Check Out My Cards now has a service status. This just popped up this week where you don't have to complain to us or any of your favorite influencers anymore. You can just go to Check Out My Cards. You can clearly see their 57 business days if you pick economy. So if you want to be cheap and want to get your cards in 57 days, by all means, that would probably be my choice. But if you need your pictures of men sooner, please choose a much more expedited service level. They also got the waiting times for the grading companies. So we like to complain over here at Sports Card Radio, and sometimes probably our complaining, I would imagine our complaining probably led to this page being created. So we're creating work for the marketing team over at Check Out My Cards. And like you said, we're a fan of this website. We've been using it a long time, and we'll continue to use it. So, and if you want to continue to use it and check out the shipping times, please head on over. Please do not contact us and head on over to the Check Out My Cards. Yeah, please do not contact us.
And hey,
so,
listen, we'll hold on. I just want to repeat one point. Go back to that service page. If you're a cheap dick motherfucker, the economy service is 57 business days. Again, if you live by the Dave Ramsey lifestyle code, which I don't, because Dave Ramsey is rich as fuck, preaching to you guys about how to save your money, and that guy doesn't. If you want to be a cheap dick motherfucker and pay for the economy and wait, you can. If you're a real man, you would do rushed or express. Otherwise, we're talking about 30-cent pictures of men, and I don't care. I don't care about your 30-cent pictures of men that you've been waiting 90 days for. I really don't. Nor should anybody else but you. And if you have a problem with Check Out My Cards, next time, talk to somebody that is actually sponsored by them and then actually gets money from them. I actually send money to Check Out My Cards. I actually pay them. If Check Out My Cards wants to acquire Sports Card Radio, sportscardshow@gmail.com, send the offer, and we'll take a look. Thank you.
I like how you're selling it today. I love it.
Thank you.
I'll take that 4.2.
Damn right. I'm doing it for you, Tim. Let's get, I don't want to throw a number out there, but 4.2 of what the site really should sell for. Because the profit multiple that SGC just sold at, if we sell it that profit multiple, trust me, we go into SoCal and we balling out. So, because I know Sports Card Radio makes a solid profit. So, We actually make money. The rest of these guys fucking don't. They're just in existence to trim their own cards and grade them. Next topic.
Speaking of making money, are we talking about our boy Jeff?
Oh, my boy Jeff. Okay, my boy Jeff came out with a video yesterday. Live selling going to 10x, or is yesterday the day before? Live selling about to 10x CardsHQ. Listen to this. First of all, people might not like this in the comment section, and the fans of the show might not. I actually appreciated this podcast, and I thought it was decent. I like hearing about people's businesses, and I actually thought this was probably maybe the most honest they've been about their business. Here's the deal about CardsHQ. They're going to run into so many problems trying to scale this business up the way they're trying to scale it up. He talked about how his boys like getting on Southwest, and they got the luggage, and they're going to show, and there's no shows in Atlanta, and there's not enough people that live in Atlanta that want to sell them the card collection. So they having to go show to try to get cards. And they talked about bringing a U-Haul to the National. Hello, guys. Guys have been bringing U-Hauls to the National for longer than both of you guys have been alive. People have been, Ryan, you were at Nationals 10 years before Jeff Wilson even got in this hobby. Guys were bringing U-Hauls to the National back then. It ain't nothing new saying you go come to the National and back up a truck and buy some stuff. Like that's not a new business model. That's not revolutionary. That's not changing the game of retail like these guys are talking about. But these guys are talking about, oh, we're trying to sell a card every 30 seconds on whatnot. Yeah. Okay. You can do that for a while, but have fun trying to replenish that inventory day after day, time after time, minute after minute. These guys are going to have massive problems trying to scale this business up from a trading card perspective. If they're trying to sell cards 30 seconds at a time on whatnot, and at the same time acquiring that inventory by flying halfway across the country and bringing that inventory back on suitcases. Ryan, how many Fortune 500 companies operate that way? Where they get all of the inventory that they sell by sending a couple of pencil dick employees on a Southwest flight, not even first class. I don't even think Southwest has first class.
No.
So they fly on. No. So they fly in not coach on Southwest to some card shows with suitcases trying to buy inventory so they can bring it back and sell it on whatnot. This is one of the worst business models I've ever seen and heard of, guys. For a 14,000 square feet A+ retail establishment in the great state of Georgia. This is a basement storage unit business model where you're going to get, this is a Mojo Sports business model where you're going to live in your 1-bedroom apartment. You're going to travel the country. You're going to make a couple of dollars off the content. You're going to make a couple of dollars in appearance fees. You're going to buy some inventory, and then you're going to flip it. What Jeff Wilson is trying to do is a mistake. He's trying to sell his inventory on whatnot, and he's trying to acquire that inventory by traveling the show circuit across the country. Ryan, what happens when there's another China virus that goes around? What happens when that happens? What happens to Jeff Wilson's business model when the China virus comes back? Or what happens when the weather's bad? What happens when the show circuit starts to slow down? What happens when people don't want to sell their cards? People start to wise up and they say, well, wait a second. Why am I selling to Jeff for 30 off when I could sell it on my own eBay account, or I could sell it on my own Twitter account? Or I could do this, or I could send it to PSA, or I could send it to fucking Steve over at SGC and get 10s. The business model that they are running doesn't make any sense to me. They talked about how they have absolutely no relationship with Panini. Panini doesn't give a fuck about these guys.
Clearly.
Tops is
Which
and
we
look,
knew going
Panini's
in.
out. Panini's out the door anyway, so who cares? I personally, I wouldn't give a fuck about them anyways, and I would be building up a relationship with Tops anyways, and so they're doing the right thing. I would suck up to Tops and forget Panini.
I watched the video of Mojo at Cards HQ like opening or something like that, and he has a ton of square footage being used up by like $5 and $10 slabs. So it's like how are you truly making money, or like if that's your plan to make your money off $5 and $10 slabs, like dude, I don't.
You better be
see
selling a
that.
whole bunch of them.
Right.
You better be selling.
Not
You better
only
be selling.
selling a whole bunch of them, but you got to be constantly acquiring it and replenishing. And Ryan, you and I know that is not an easy thing. Even if you're sitting around and all day, your only job is to come up with $7 slabs and bring them in the door so you can sell them on Whatnot for 13. That's not an easy game. And if these idiots can do it at 14,000 square feet and they start proving that out, well, guess what? The guy's going to open up in his mom's basement and do it for even cheaper. Or the guy's going to open up with 1,000 square feet and do it. The idea that you go around the country with suitcases on a Southwest flight and you acquire your inventory that way? Come on, guys. It's a joke. It's a joke. And talking at the same out of their mouth is, oh, we're going to revolutionize retail this way. Just stop. Just stop. And then the Jeff is talking about, oh, in India and China, live selling is big. Guys, in India and China, they don't got girls like Margaret and the tight end's girlfriend posting themselves in half naked every 30 seconds on Instagram. The attention span of a United States citizen is a hell of a lot lower than in China and in India, where they have billions of people that live there, literally. The population of the United States is smaller. It's not India or China. And the attention span is a hell of a lot shorter. And the temptation and allure of other content is far greater. So yeah, you're going to get some eyeballs. Yeah, you're going to make some sales. But good luck traveling the country trying to feed the inventory of a 14,000 square foot building, filling your suitcases at card shows. At card shows. Why didn't you just open up a circuit of card shows? Why didn't you do that? If that's where all the inventory is, why didn't you just do that?
His idea of success is making the margins of 33%, but on like $2 to $3, not like on the bigger tickets.
Right. I don't.
So his volume will never be able to reach that.
No
sustainability.
No, he's gonna. Yes, he is gonna have to sell every 30 seconds on Whatnot, but he's gonna have to put these two pencil fucks on a Southwest flight every other day, and it's just not sustainable, and it's not possible. And at some point, if it is possible, let's assume it is possible, some other guy is going to do it, and he's going to be able to do it cheaper and better and faster. Or 10 other influencers are going to do this exact same thing. I mean, this is exactly what Mojo Sports, Sasha T, and every other influencer has tried to do over the past 5 years, is exactly what these guys are doing. Go around to card shows, get people to sell their cards for 20 off, and then you go and sell them on Whatnot or in your card store for full price. It doesn't. I think
it was an honest video from Jeff. I think about 15 minutes in, he does admit that the building's too big for just a strictly, if you were just talking about a retail building in Atlanta. Kind of one of the first kind of admissions from Jeff that, yeah, if this was just a retail building, you know, it's too big. That's why the title of his video is Live Selling About to 10X Cards HQ, because it has to. It has to. There's a reason why 14,000 square foot, any type of retail, doesn't exist in your town or anywhere. So it concerns me that a month in, they've already realized that maybe they went a little bit too big on the building, or it's going to take them too long to scale into it. I know, and again, the inventory problems, they talked about that at length, about being able to get enough cards on a very, very, very small, much smaller scale. I encounter that problem as well when I'm selling cards on Check Out My Cards. Maybe have a good day, maybe have a good week, maybe even have a good month, and you have a few $1,000s maybe even sitting in there. It's hard to replenish the inventory. I'm buying cards to reprice them. I can't just buy anything. I can't just willy-nilly and start clicking buy it now over there. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of knowledge to go through and replenish your inventory. To do this at the scale that CardsHQ is trying to do is an incredible challenge, and that's putting it mildly. They did talk about kind of wanting to speed up the amount of cards they're selling on Whatnot. They go on Whatnot, couple guys sit on there, 2 guys different than these 2 guys. So now we have 5 guys in this business in the picture getting paid. They're selling about 300 cards for every 90 minutes or something. But the thing that concerned me is that they're already trying to speed that up. They talked about, hey, we need to sell more cards. We need to sell 2 every 30 seconds. That actually concerns me. I think when you open a business, you should have enough runway and enough money to give your customers a good, positive experience when they come to you. Give them a good show. I think people do this backwards. They're always trying to sell the fucking cards, sell the cards, get revenue, sell the cards. Provide your customers with a fun experience. Let me log into fucking Whatnot, and it could be these 3, Jeff and whoever, talking about the business, talking about whatever, and maybe some other cards are being sold at the same time. I think building your following, don't focus on the sales so much. Build a good customer experience. I think just shoving cards down people's throat on Whatnot, I don't know if I'd be doing that a month into their business, but again, I'm not setting up their type of business. To get to the scale they need to get to, Jeff said they need to at least probably 10x their business. They probably need 100x their business online. And I think you touched on it a little bit. At some point, don't you cannibalize yourself? Either 1, somebody else is going to come in and do it because they see that you're having success, or 2, can you just keep shoving $1 cards on Whatnot 24 hours a day before that gets old, before either you run out of inventory to sell or your buyers just get a little tapped out? So I think to grow this, and then look at the breaker cabanas. I think they have 1 breaker cabana open right now. How in the hell are they going to scale up to 6 and get enough customers to buy into 6 breaks, maybe presumably at all time, and become a backyard breaks? Very, very, very challenging. It worries me, while they're being honest in this video, it worries me that there wasn't a whole lot of plan when this business got set up. Obviously, Jeff doesn't have a whole lot of experience, with card shops. Buying ice cream and setting up a couple Ben and Jerry's, that's a lot easier business. Guess where your ice cream comes from? Ben and Jerry's corporate. You don't have to fly to Nashville, Tennessee, and Dallas, and Burbank, and fucking Auburn, California to buy your fucking inventory. He's setting up a very, very, very complex business. He did that in a building. Again, he says it 15 minutes into this video that he admits, yeah, it's probably a little too big. So they have to scale this online business so fast. And that's why they're already pushing their guys on Whatnot to sell 2 cards every 30 seconds instead of 1. I don't think that's the way to do business when you first start out. Provide your customers with a great customer experience.
Well, it makes them have to replenish that inventory even faster. And if there's a slowdown in the card show circuit, if there's a slowdown in traffic of people wanting to send their cards in, and we don't know when Topps takes over these licenses, we assume that the cadence of release is going to continue, but let's assume maybe there's an interruption in the cadence of releases. It's just not that well thought through business model. And again, we wouldn't necessarily be criticizing anybody on the show. This is a guy who claims that he's an investor by day, sports card investor by night. In his lawsuit that he threatened to Sports Card Radio, he said he claimed he went on and on about himself. And in fact, kind of down talked his wife and said, well, no. Jeff Wilson is successful. Jeff Wilson has done some really, really cool stuff. My wife isn't my sugar mama. I've actually done some things in my life. We just don't know what those things are yet. And now he opened up a 14,000 square foot retail establishment with no plan to fill it with inventory. No sustainable plan to fill it with inventory. Because again, like Ryan said, I was on eBay this week looking to spend I could have spent $2,000 on inventory this week. Like I might talk about this on a podcast, but my credit score is through the roof right now. Not to brag, but it's through the roof. And so I'm getting these offers from my credit card company, 18 months, no interest. And I got 15,000 of credit line. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's great. I got a $15,000 credit line that's a zero cost to me. So what should I do? I should actually start a business with that. I know there's going to be a lot of you guys, Dave Ramsey guy, that'll be like, no, you should count every dollar that you spend and live very frugally. You're on this earth for healthy and able being. You're on this earth for maybe 40 years. But man, you should live frugally and drive a used pickup truck and live in a modest neighborhood where you might get shot. No, fuck that. I'm trying to live in Pebble Beach in 2 years. So I'm trying to scale up a business. I got $15,000 credit from Chase, JP Morgan Chase. They're going to lend it to me for 0% interest for the next 18 months. So it's like, shit, I should buy some baseball cards and try to flip these because it's a no cost to me. I buy the card, 0%, try to flip it, make some money. Fuck, it's hard to buy it. It's hard to buy these cards, even when you want to. It's hard. And they talked about this. Credit to Jeff Wilson and his team. They talked about this on. It's hard to buy these cards. And it's 0% interest, guys. I'm trying to buy these cards for $5 off. We've got a card ladder subscription. I'm typing it in. Okay, the last one sold for $200. Fuck, I'll pay $190. It's 0 interest. Who cares? It's hard to buy it for $190. This is a tough business model that they're trying to execute here. If they had 1,000 square feet, we'd be having a completely different discussion over here. If they had 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet, we'd have a completely different discussion over here. If they were in a warehouse, they were paying 50 cents a square foot warehouse. No, but like Ryan said, they got 19 breaker cabanas. Not 19, but you get the picture. They spent like $1 million fucking dollars on camera equipment. We didn't talk about it during SGC, the SGC segment, but you were going to have a consolidation, I think, of the breaker business. I think the breakers should consolidate. I don't think you should have 1 million different breakers. The big ones should consolidate, okay? Like if you're a Mojo Sports, not Mojo, like you should be ashamed of yourself, but Mojo Break, if you're Leighton, if you're Firehand, if you're one of these, quote, big guys, you should be going out and doing the exact same thing Collectors Universe is doing right now. You should be doing that right now. Go find as many breakers as you can with an allocation. I wouldn't be finding the breakers with that's buying this shit on Target or on Blowout. But go find a breaker and consolidate the business. Do what the smart money is doing. Collectors, I think, is the smart money in this hobby. They're trying to consolidate the grading business. Do that. Don't do what Jeff did and break out on his own, open up I hear so many comments like, I wish I had a CardsHQ in my city. Hello, Amber Alert. The reason why there's not is because it's not a good business model. It's the stupidest thing really anybody has done in this hobby over the past couple of years.
Do you think Jeff's partners have ever ran a business before?
I mean, maybe they have, but I don't think any of these guys have any idea. Because even if they do scale this business up, they're able to get on enough Southwest airline flights, load up their fucking Louis Vuitton luggage with enough cards. How I saw complaints on this video in the comment section. There's people saying very similar to the check out my cards fucking butt fucks that email us. Oh, I've been waiting 60 days for my 19-cent Trevor Lawrence card. There's guys in the comment section of this video like your shipping is too long. It takes too long. Because you can scale this business up, but now you need a shipping department. This is in real, and that's what makes this kind of fascinating. In real time, this is a train wreck from a business perspective, what we are watching here. And again, I know most everybody else in the hobby is like, I wish I had this in my city. Guys, I wish Disneyland was in my city. My kid, like I was driving by a Delta, literally, this is the mind of like a 6-year, my son. We're driving by a Del Taco that's been torn down and it's being remodeled. And my son was like, oh, do you think they're building a Legoland there? And it's the cutest thing because it's my son and he's 6 and he thinks, oh yeah, they're gonna build a Legoland where I live.
Wait, he didn't say CardsHQ. He didn't say, are they building a CardsHQ there, Dad?
Oh, I can't believe he didn't say that. But no, he said, I can't believe, Dad, I think they're building, maybe they're building a Legoland. And he's saying that dead serious. Okay. Me as a parent, I'm laughing, thinking, oh yeah, they're going to build Legoland where I live in California, where there's like 70,000 people. Like there's not even going to be a Lego store, let alone a Legoland where I live. Okay. And that's where Jeff is. And that's where a lot of people in this hobby are. Oh, I wish there was a CardsHQ where I lived. Oh yeah. And you wish Margaret Robbie would knock on your fucking door and have sex with you tonight. That's not going to happen. Just like Jeff Wilson thinking he's going to send these two dumbasses on enough salad. Like, how crazy is it, Ryan, that he's thinking he's going to send these guys on Southwest airline flights with Louis Vuitton luggage and load that up with cards when every other retail is you get your inventory through UPS or FedEx. Like, this is insane.
Build up. You can build up to something like this. I mean, because I've seen the owner of Burbank Sports Cards, what's his name, Rob Vieira's at the National. He goes around, he smoozes all the little dollar dealers, common dealers, and at the end of the show, he scoops up all the inventory and he takes it all back to Burbank. And we're literally talking about a U-Haul size, could fit in a freaking U-Haul what he's buying. But you build up to that point. That's why when before his store even opened, you could go back to the clips I was saying. I was like, Jeff overnight is going to have to become one of the biggest sellers of cards online, period. To be at the scale he's trying to be at. And 15 minutes in, he admits that, yeah, the building we're in, yeah, it's too big for Atlanta. Like fucking retail, 14,000 square foot retail stores don't really probably exist in retail unless their name is Target and Walmart. And in that case, they're bigger than that. It's just going to be incredibly interesting to see how this develops. I'm shocked that there wasn't more planning. Jeff has said that he's been working on this for over a year or whatever it is. I am shocked at the lack of foresight of what they thought was going to happen. This thing was going to be open a month. Of course they were going to be able to sell some cards. Of course they were going to be able to go on to Whatnot and sell some cards. How in the fuck are you going to replenish that inventory? That takes a lot of time. And maybe your business model is flying around show to show with suitcases on Southwest, but you grow into that point. You start with 1,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet or 2,000 square feet, and you prove that you can do that. Jeff wanted to create this hobby shop probably for clout, probably more for clout than anything else. He wanted the attention. He wanted the admiration. If he just set up a smaller shop, it wouldn't have been as impressive as DA Card World or Burbank Sports Cards or some of the other sports card shops that have been set up and that are pretty nice. He wanted to go above and beyond, and that is scary because now he's running into the real operational challenges. He's only been open a month. Only been open a month, and the building's already too big, and you're already having to send your two main guys, quote unquote, on a Southwest trip with 3 suitcases to hopefully fill up some inventory. And they're buying at 80%. They're buying at 80%, flying around the country with hotel rooms and food and all this shit, the expenses you've got to pay. There's a reason why you don't see the Sasha T's, the Roth cards, and the guys go on show tours anymore, because that's just not profitable. Now you're trying to do essentially, you're trying to do it with a 14,000 square foot shop. Come on,
stop it. Just stop. But this was the most honest, and one of those guys was like, I was there till 3 a.m. I don't know if he was exaggerating, but even if it was exaggerating by an hour or two, it's like, guys, I was fast asleep at 3 a.m. I was fast asleep at 3 a.m. I ain't gonna say how much money I made, but
I was trying to get a girl to come over, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, I mean,
Betsy didn't hear that. Betsy, turn that off. If you
look, I understand. Some people listen to like the Dave Ramsey. Some people are like Grant Cardone, and it's got a grind and shit. Guys, I played 18 holes of golf today. I had a 2-hour meeting. I'm on the live stream for longer than I worked today. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You know, the check.
You got better clips than Ken Golden. I got a 800 credit score. I got 15,000 in the bank. I tried to pay 90% today and just couldn't buy the card.
Hey, I mean, I think, should I compare myself to Ken Golden right now? I think in some places we're cut out of the same. I think he and I are cut out of the same cloth. I think if I were to give myself a compliment, which I'm quick to do, very often do, I think I earn my dollar. You know, I understand my skill set, and I only earn money off of my best skills. I think Jeff Wilson has some excellent skill set. I don't think he's earning it efficiently anymore. I think he has some great ambition, and I think he's a very good talker, and he's a good speaker. I think he's good at marketing. I think he's good at starting things up, but I don't think he's good operationally. And he's got himself a handful from an operations perspective now. Very difficult to, even if you want to spend even if you wanted to spend $1 million right now on trading cards at 80 off, it would be hard to spend the $1 million. It's actually hard to do. And you don't really realize it. Yeah, you don't really realize it until you try to do it, which we have done. You and I have tried to do this numerous times, where it's not the first time JP Morgan is like, hey, Colin, you have a 0 balance on your $15,000 Chase Freedom card. Here's 0% for the next 12 months. And I'm like, let's max this motherfucker out. And we can't even come close. It's actually difficult. To do. And so even if you send these guys to the Monster Card Show, the Arbor Card Show, the whatever card show, it's actually tough because there's actually other people in this hobby that are doing it. And they have less overhead. They have maybe other ways to make money as well. They have less employees, and they have less pressure to buy this stuff. But I think what this does show you is if there's guys like this in this hobby, this is a great time to be buying and selling trading cards, guys. This is a great time to be buying and selling trading cards. We've had our best month on Check Out My Cards probably in 12 months, maybe 14 months, maybe longer than that. Golden, the sales are popping every single day. We're selling something on Golden. We can't buy the cards fast enough, honestly. I'm trying to buy stuff on eBay 90 off. I can't even get it.
We have
This
a
is a
lot of
great
stuff
time.
I don't even want to sell.
I don't
Like
even want to sell. No, I don't
we've
wanna sell.
turned into card fondlers and
We have.
collectors. Like there's probably 20, 30, $40,000 in cards that I wouldn't even fucking sell,
I don't wanna sell.
even if we
I
made
don't-
money on it.
I think it's underpriced. I think the cards are underpriced.
I think they are.
Some of this
And you
stuff's
could
underpriced.
you look at what happens with this SGC thing and how much attention this has gotten. A fucking like third-rate company in the sports car, a third-rate grading company that's nearly 20 times their number one competitor. And it gets a lot of attention. It's $100 million business, maybe $100 million exit for a fucking former card trimmer.
Sure.
I don't think we're going to see another boom like we did in 2020, but I think
No, that was abnormal. That was abnormal.
Sure.
And it's not healthy, I don't think either. Very
If only
similar
we
to,
had
like, a
somebody
stock
in the
market.
hobby telling you that. If only there was
Sure.
somebody in the hobby telling you that it was abnormal when he had the biggest microphone in the hobby. Instead, he was pumping Ben Simmons down your fucking throat.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a time to sell cards. I think even now is time to. I don't know. I think I think it's a relatively healthy market that we're in now, but I'm not. I am not actively. I'm not actively excited about selling the stuff that we have.
I sell the scrap, but stuff that
Sell the
never
scrap, sell
comes
the
up
junk.
for sale. When you're over here on Card Ladder and these fucking cards are, you get into the 2020s before you see a
Right,
sale price.
right.
I'm buying that card and
Yeah.
that card's not fucking seeing the light of day unless I'm
Right.
homeless,
That's what I
So,
bought.
just
Yeah,
don't want it.
I bought like a Sammy Sosa atomic refractor from like I don't know the early 2000s this week. I paid like $120 for the card. I bought a Tom Glavine Flair Legacy. I think it was to 99. Like you never see that shit. And then I bought something else that was actually kind of expensive. Another kind of like refractor, just kind of refractor card. I think what's kind of underpriced are the gold prism cards to 10. I think those are like the PMGs of the day. I think you're looking 10 years from now, these cards, obviously, if it's Tom Brady, it's going to be a great pull. But I think even like just the common guy to 10, like that's just never going to come up for sale. And this is what the guy, like to use a friend of the channel, like a Cblaz has got some good money. I've been seeing him stack bricks on Instagram, but like his generation, they're going to come into even better money in like 10, 15 years. A lot of these guys are going to be making six figures. They're going to have their degree. They're going to have their job. Like they're going to come back and want to buy this stuff. And so like I've been trying to buy like anything numbered to 10. I've been seeing a lot of the gold refractors, of Finest, gold refractors, tops chrome. I've been bidding on, haven't always been winning it, but I've been bidding on a lot of that stuff. Like you said, you type it into Card Ladder and like one is sold over the past 2 years. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to buy, especially of like the top names. But even like I bought Sammy Sosa. I think I bought a McGuire refractor. I bought Tom Glavine, again, not GOATs, but certainly recognizable players in this hobby. So I've been buying this. I think people are overpaying for the modern stuff, the Chet Holmgrens, the John Morants, the Zion Williamsons, all that stuff. It's just totally played out. These guys, yeah, maybe they win one title, but they're not going to be looked upon as the greats of the game. So I think it's a great time. I've been having a lot of fun in this hobby. It may not seem like it, but I've been trying to acquire a lot of this stuff. And we're less than 40 days, I think, from the Masters. So, just pointing that out. If Tiger, can get his shit together.
Got any more advice for our boy Jeff?
I mean, I'd figure out a different way to get the inventory. Or like, I actually think he has the wrong strategy. He's trying, like he said on here. I think what he's going to find is this high volume, low margin strategy where he's trying to buy a bunch of cards and sell them every 30 seconds on whatnot. There's a reason why nobody else is doing that, because the opposite is actually the better strategy. It's the high margin, low volume That's the strategy that it's going to work. That you actually buy fewer cards, but you sell them at a higher price. That's what most people are doing. That's what most people are doing. Because to send these guys on these Southwest flights all across the country and try to buy sports cards and make sure it fits in 3 bags that you can check on a Southwest flight. I mean, this is such a joke. I heard that and I was like, is this a joke? Like he's literally running his business out of a suitcase.
Right.
He's literally running his business out of a suitcase, guys. And we're supposed to sit here.
And you're dependent upon this.
And this.
And this is your
the
schedule.
margin on the Sports Card Show page at Sports Card Radio is so much higher than anything that they've got going on. Okay, because there are ads running on these pages. Okay, guys.
I was nice. I took the ads off a couple of these pages actually today so that I could show them on.
Wow, look at you! I wouldn't
look at that clean ads.
Ad rates have gone up just the last couple of days. Just the last couple of days, I've noticed ad rates have skyrocketed.
Tell me about it. My Beanie Babies website gets 10 times the traffic that any of these stupid websites get. So.
I hear you.
I haven't slid into Betsy's DMs yet for everybody that's wondering. I know everybody was waiting for that. What are we, 2 hours in? I'm sure they were waiting for that. So no,
we should probably
have not slid into DMs.
I ain't gonna work till tomorrow morning, so sorry, I'm chewing.
Did I overpay for this? I want to see what I overpaid for this. I'm sure.
Let's see, folks. You get 20 off.
I guarantee I overpaid.
370.
I probably have the highest fucking comp. That's 9.5 though.
Oh, that's 9.5. But that's BGS. What'd you get? Oh, you got a 9. 355, and the 9.5 went for how much?
550.
Okay. Yeah, you paid up. You paid up. But last time I checked, Kareem's got AFib, and he was feeling dizzy last time he was walking through the airport.
I bought another Kareem autograph for like $200 on Check Out My Cards. So I feel like this is almost like dollar costing. That now I have.
Did you
have
see on Twitter trending today? There's a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem.
I was watching the highlights and I was like, if we are going to invest in any white basketball player, it is going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not Luka Doncic. But I would invest in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for sure. For sure.
Kareem.
Absolutely. Absolutely a fantastic nickname. Maybe one of the best I've ever seen. Kareem. Guys, if you're going to invest in a white basketball player, Luka Doncic is not a great investment, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, guys. Buy low, sell high. Dan Leal is the next acquisition for you guys to buy market movers. I'm sure Jeff could use the cash to make payroll next week. I'll be honest with you, Dan. I already have a trading card price guide. I actually own. This is why we can. Sometimes we get criticism. Oh, you're too hard on Jeff. I already own a trading card price guide website that does over 6 figures a year in revenue. Okay, like this is honest to God. And how long have I had this website, Ryan? Probably 10 years, maybe longer than that. Actually, it's longer than that. It might be 50, like 12 years, 13 years at this point. This is not a new idea to set up a trading card price guide website. Okay. And believe it or not, there's actually more stuff to price than trading cards. Trading cards is like actually the lowest revenue that the site makes. There's comic books, there's Hot Wheels, there's coins, there's Beanie Babies, there's art, there's antiques. It's a lot of stuff that people spend a lot of money on and they want to know the price of it. Trading cards is amateur hour, in my opinion, when it comes to pricing. But if he wants to sell market movers, I'm interested.
Let's do it.
But it would have to be at a steep discount because I have experience in this industry. I get all the traffic. I know how to acquire the traffic, and I make a lot of money off of my trading card price guide website. In fact, I've made more than $1 million off of it. You don't buy Rolexes, guys, by doing podcasts for free.
You were just flexing over here. You were just.
I'm feeling
suck
good.
on
I'm
that
feeling good.
watch, baby.
Like, I never even wear it. Although I got a message from the AD this week, so I might be flexing something here really soon. Big Shep 79, are you guys going to Auburn on Saturday? Ryan is. Ryan will be there on Saturday. It's a special day in my family. I unfortunately, it just falls on a day. I can't make it. Nor 99% of the time I can make a day like this. March 2nd, I cannot, unfortunately. Fooey, Ryan's still in the booth at CardsHQ. I hope Jeff is treating you right. Is that you, Ryan? Or is that one of his employees named Ryan?
I had I was trying to get Betsy in the booth. That's all I know. Is me and Betsy were gonna go in the booth and
you and Betsy. And that might make
her business.
The
we were gonna 10x something. I know that.
10x the okay. Joe Barrett, $4.99. Jeff Wilson be like, buy SGC 10 and submit to PSA 10 for a crossover. Oh yeah, that's coming, guys. That's coming. That's coming. All the guys are gonna be like, oh, the arbitrage spread, guys. You can make $2.83 if you buy this trading card over here and send it over here, and you wait 45 days. But with this Joe Biden inflation, you really won't make that much, but you will make $2.80. But factor in the Joe Biden inflation, and you'll actually lose money. But whatever. Yeah, that's coming. Believe me, Joe Barrett with the $4.89.
Well, that's the thing is people are going to try that, and they're going to be some people so mad, be like, I sent in 5 SGC 10s and they came back an 8, a 7, a 6.5, and one was trimmed, and they're going to be like, you guys are the same company. You guys are the same company. That's why I'm not convinced that. I mean, I think they should. I think they should go NWO. I think they should go NWO and compete against each other.
But I think that's $1 million idea. I think that's like $1 million idea. Like, think about them compete against each other for the marketing.
Compete against each other in marketing.
I think it's a great idea. Fantastic idea. I mean, it worked out great for the NWO, right?
No shit.
They probably sold $1 million of merchandise in a month.
When has another wrestling outfit beat the WWE in ratings? I think they beat the WWE in ratings for like 80 weeks in a row or something. Yeah, that would be like the NBA. That would be like the NBA losing to some other fucking scrub basketball league, like or
the
whatever.
Big Three or something.
Right, like if LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe, or college. Yeah, NWO, baby.
Yeah. Rattle Pokemon SCR under the collector's umbrella. That'll be the day. I tell you what, that would be the day, guys. If we get bought out collectors, we would have a very celebratory live stream. That's without a freaking doubt. We would be celebrating, guys. If I got a little bit of Nat Turner money, oh my God, we would be celebrating.
We would be live from the strip club, from the Gold Club in Vegas. It'd be like, doosh, doosh,
live from Sapphires.
Guys, Jeff Wilson said he sold 300 cards today. Hey, sweetie, just a minute. I'm talking about Jeff Wilson here. Just a minute, sweetie.
Yeah, we got to finish our segment on CardsHQ.
Got a show to do.
Here's $100. Quiet down.
Right. Here's some of Nat's money. Shut up.
Can we expect a SCR grading service soon? I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No, I don't want to go toe to toe with PSA. In my opinion, like, why do you start a business? It'd be like me starting a watch brand. When you got Rolex, Patek, and AP, why do I start a watch brand, guys? Like like, again, I know like the Jeff Wilsons of the world are like, be ambitious and try everything you can to disrupt things and do something great. Guys, I played 18 holes of golf today, hung out with my children. That's what I want to do.
I have an 800 credit score.
Yeah, I got and I have an 800 credit score.
Hey, maybe he was talking about grading women. Maybe he was not talking about cards. Maybe pictures of women.
Maybe we should just have a live stream where we talk about women. I mean,
Grading
if we
women.
can get 700 people watching us talking about pictures of men, how much could we
God, what are
get
we
for
doing?
like women?
If we had a women audience,
Where we were
man,
talking about Dua Lipa and Taylor Swift, and we talking about, you know, all these celebrities out there. What if we had a podcast about that? It's a good idea. Thank you, Loaded.
that's our
Hot, for the
branch off.
idea.
Yeah,
That's it.
There's our branch off.
I mean, yeah. Joe Barrett with another 499. Will Betsy Higgins benchwarmer refractor SGC 9 bump
Ooh.
to a PSA 10? 10.
PSA 11. PSA.
Oh, that's
11.
true. It's 11. It's 11
The 11 ski.
with no subgrades. No subgrades.
No subgrades.
Thank you, Joe. Whatever happened to the PWCC scandal? Any new drama? PWCC got sold to Tops,
Mm-hmm.
so it's over. Pretty
It's over.
much. What's his name? Sold. They got divorced. We're waiting for the divorce.
Oh well,
papers
we
to
don't
show
know
up.
if they. We don't know if they got.
Okay.
We don't know if they got divorced. That was certainly a rumor, but
Oh, that was a rumor.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, anything with PWCC would basically be rehashing old news. That's why I haven't dug into it. I've certainly had opportunities to probably find out some dirt, but at this point, you know, the company's under new ownership. Brent's out. Brent's gone. Brent for a while looked like he was going to stay on, and a bunch of his little cronies were going to stay on. Fanatics and Tops probably sniffed around the business and realized that Brent is involved in a lot of shady stuff, and including a text message found on the Sports Card Radio website where he was telling people to grab the high bid on the DiMaggio, the guy who owned the card. So he was telling somebody to shill bid on this DiMaggio. That was conveniently trimmed.
That was trimmed.
From an here's the old SGC holders. So what do you
There
think
it
of
is.
the? You don't like the old SG? You don't like the
I
old
actually
SGC
like
holders
that.
in the-
No, I actually like that. I don't like the 100-point scale, but I
Okay.
actually prefer that holder to what they have now. That's just me. That's just me. This is me. I prefer. Yeah, I don't like that. That just looks cheap. That looks. I didn't mind the green. The green is good. The green is okay. The green's okay with me. The green and black is fine.
Okay.
Cleaner, in my opinion. I don't know. Okay. Remember the uncertainty about what would happen to Upper Deck card prices when after Panini took over? Exquisite 10x'd. Poopini sucks. He's right. Timepiece Esquire is correct.
He's right.
That when Panini took over Upper Deck, that's when Jordan autographs took off. Kobe autographs to a lesser
What did
degree.
this card used to be worth? I mean, cards
Yeah.
even like, you know, the Bill Russell. What did that used to be worth?
And that's why I'm not scared to buy Panini cards right now. Like I'm actually not, because there's a whole generation that grew up where Panini was the shit. And in 10 years, they're going to have money. And
This
they're going
was
to come back
$200.
and try to buy. That was?
I mean,
Wow.
obviously he passed away. He obviously passed away, but this was $200 in 2016.
Right.
This is an 8.8. This is an 8.8 that sold for 1,800 tonight. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
It's a nice card. That's an awesome card.
these type of cards, yeah, have shot the exquisite, and he's talking about the exquisite stuff, which is probably like more than 10x. I mean, this
But I was
card
even
actually
looking-
is almost 10x.
I saw this week, I was looking at, there was a Joe Torre. It wasn't a sign of the times, but it was like an old Upper Deck autograph. And it was like at like $200. And I was like, oh, cool. I might bid on that. But then I looked, it was like a Joe Torre autographs were $30.
$30.
So it was like huge premium for the Upper Deck one. Huge.
Yep.
Huge. Fanatics and Jeff Wilson went to same school of marketing. $1.99 from Timepiece. That could be true. That could be very true. This might be one of the higher super chats that we've ever gotten. Is the Key Dog comeback tour with the $80.08 with the booby titties for 400. Really appreciated that. Thank you, Key Dog. $80, bro. Thank you. Really appreciate that. You certainly could afford the Margaret Robbie tier that we'll be having in our grift section of the YouTube here very soon. I would spend more on Super Chat if you read them. Timepiece Esquire. Thank you. We do read them towards the end of the show. Thank you, Timepiece. We do get some criticism, like if we're talking and then we interrupt for a super chat. Some people don't like that, so we throw them here at the end. But we do acknowledge every super chat. So thank you, Timepiece. The $1.99. Appreciate it, my man. Title City Sports Mike with the 10. Found out that logo was hijacked.
That's going to Tim. Yeah.
That's going to Tim. So we got a PayPal address after this is over. Boob Topic will get us canceled. Hopefully not. Me and Google have a great relationship. I was at Google's headquarters a few weeks ago.
God,
Google
you just
loves
name
me.
dropping. You name dropping. You
I'm like
flexing.
Phil Hellmuth. I'm like Phil Hellmuth, baby.
Man, you like Jeff Wilson.
Kev Math with the tweet last night notifying me of the SGC merger. Like, we worldwide here. Should we do a little WSOP event this summer? Fly in for, I can't afford the big ones, but maybe fly in for a 1,500.
I just want to follow around Kev Math when he's covering the WSOP and just
I just want to go there and see what he's doing. Yeah, I know. So
I've seen him before. I had no idea that he might know who we were. Now, this was many years ago. I've seen him at the WSOP. Yeah.
I remember before he was just a presence on the forum of the 2+2 forum. I think it was like a moderator. And I remember when he kind of first made himself known in the poker public. I think he did like an interview on Poker Road, and I think he did an interview maybe on like Pocket Fives or something like that. And so I remember that because I wasn't big on 2+2 or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This guy like knows everything about poker. Now I think he works a little bit for WSOP. He kind of like freelances around a little bit. So carves out a cool niche for himself in the poker world. But fan of the show, and equally from Sports Card Radio side, a fan of him and his work over the years. And we really appreciate his contribution to the poker world. And like I said, should we dip to Vegas? I think the WSOP is what, a month from now? What's it, March, April?
That's a really fun thing to go to. I went one time and there were no TV cameras around.
I want to play.
Oh, there was Phil Hellmuth and Daniel Negreanu, and they were at dual tables. And there was, if you've ever watched poker on TV back in the day, you know, Phil Hellmuth would just sit there and talk shit on people. And that's what he was doing. There was no TV cameras around. He was just sitting there shit talking all the people at the table. At some point, this guy ordered a dozen donuts at 3 a.m. Like a dozen donuts showed up randomly at the Rio. And
it's awesome.
It was like one of the more entertaining sporting events that I've ever been to, because you can literally, I mean, you can see their cards. They're, you know, you can damn near see the cards. Everybody's either coked out or drunk or something, and so it was just like it's a fun time. It was a fun time.
Yeah, I want to go. There's a 1,500 turbo or something. I'd enter that. I can't afford much more than that because I ain't a good poker player no more. That's for sure. SCR won't get bought because it's number one in the field. Suck for dollars, baby. That's right.
That's
we
a good
number
point.
one. Yeah, maybe we don't get bought because we're number one. Maybe not. We're too big to be acquired. David Snyder with the $4.99 with Jeff Ambitions. Would he create his own grading company, buy a card at the HQ, and have it graded in an hour? I mean, maybe he's crazy enough to do that.
Not the worst idea.
Not the worst idea. There certainly would be
not
like card fondlers out there that would pay him to do that. So I mean, David Snyder, I mean, I would send your resume in, and because Jeff Wilson's throwing out money like it's going out of style. So I'd get a little bit of the Jeff Wilson PPP money before it completely dries up, or the what's his wife's name, Kim get some of the Kim Wilson money before it completely dries up, because that's a pretty damn good idea. Do you like Russian watches? I don't know about any Russian watches. When you see a PSA 10 with the old label, do you worry? Call Ja Rule. No, actually, when I see the old label, when I see the old label, I don't know. I kind of like the old label, like especially the old label. There's been, I think,
There's older ones than that.
Yeah, there's at least 3 different labels that I see on a regular basis. The really old ones I love. I actually like buying those cards. And maybe I'm weird, but I like buying those ones. It's very similar to PCGS. One thing that we don't talk enough about is PSA as the parent company of PCGS, which is the #1 coin grader. There's something called the old green holder, which is the first holder that PCGS had. It has a very like archaic green label. I buy coins that are in the old, it's OGH. If you search like eBay for like, I don't know, like PCGS OGH, it will come up with the old green holder. And those tend to sell for more because the grading standards when those holders were in existence were higher than they are today. And so if you have a PCGS MS62 in an old green holder, some collectors value it at an MS64 or higher grade. So there is something to the old holders. I don't know about first trading cards. Autodidact University with the $2, loyal contributor to the show, taking everything I've worked for. Stockton. That's right, guys. Don't show up in Stockton without some work ethic.
Stockton.
Would SGR sell to Timepiece is hooking it up tonight, bro. He must have sold some timepieces this week. He said, would SCR sell to Jeff Wilson if he wanted to acquire? Yes. Very quick answer, yes. If Jeff Wilson offered us the right, and some people are like, oh, you're a sellout. Everything has a price, guys. And if somebody offers you a price for something, there's no sentimental value to trading cards for me and to a website. Can always set up a new one. So, somebody offers me the right price, I'm paying. What platform
Jeff should sit us in at one of his breaker pavilions and pay us for that. Imagine how many views he'd get on that.
Oh my God. He would triple his viewership in an hour. Yeah, he should hook us up. Call us, Jeff. Slamlord, what platform do you stream off? StreamYard. StreamYard.com, unaffiliated. There's $49 a month. I think there's a free plan though.
It works really well.
We pay the $49 though. Key Dog with another $13. Homie hooked it up with 80, and now he's coming in with 13. He says, what does John Bond and card purchasers have to say about this? John Bond was very offended by last week's show. And I think John Bond took it personally. John Bond took it personally. And my wife was like, I like posted my response to his. And my wife was like, man, you came so close to saying you're sorry, but without saying it. It's like, yeah, Sports Card Radio never says they're sorry. Sports Card Radio doesn't apologize. John Bond, I think it took it personally. And I told him, I can totally understand how you took last week's show personally, but it was not about you. It was not about John Bond. It was the fact that Panini had to use you as their PR agent. So you had to buy into a break, pull one of the best cards, pay to send it to PSA, have PSA tell you that the autograph may not be authentic, and you had to go through all of that and be the PR agent for Panini and do it not only unpaid, but you had to pay to do it. And also card purchaser had to do that. Guys, this is a joke. This is like me buying a Rolex and me having to be like, oh, well, I don't know if this Rolex is authentic. Let me have to send this off to this authenticator and then have to get it back and then have to be the mouthpiece for Rolex. You guys would laugh at me if I did that. Like literally, if I bought a Rolex from Rolex and I didn't know if it was authentic and I had to send it off to somebody to find out if it was authentic. And I had to be the PR agent for not only the authenticator PSA, but also Panini at the same time. But I had to be the authenticator for Rolex. You guys would laugh at me. But that's what you guys are doing for Panini. You guys are buying into the break, pulling one of the best cards, sending to an authenticator, having the authenticator tell you that it may not be real, and then you have to come back and be the PR agent for this company. It's not about John Bond. God bless people like John Bond who spend their hard-earned money on this shit. It's a joke. It's a joke, guys. The way Panini treats you guys is a fucking joke. The fact that they can't even authenticate this shit themselves, let alone have to use you. Where is the official statement from Panini on this, guys? We have to go to John Bond and Card Purchaser for that. It's a joke. Oh, yeah. Here it is, guys.
boys.
Here's what Panini tweeted this week. Here are the big shots of Panini, guys. These are the guys.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. No wonder this shit
You guys
is not
think
real.
You guys think you're going to get your redemption cards? You guys think this company's going somewhere?
This
Come
looks
on.
like 3 guys that have graduated from a Stockton high school last year. You guys are fucking losers.
These are like tenured employees. These guys
Yeah.
have been there for like a decade.
These are the big guys. Not just weight-wise, but these are the guys. Guys are fucking morons and losers. These are the reason. These guys are actually the reason why this brand lost all their licenses. These guys. These guys are the reason why Fanatics is taking over the hobby. Because you have these fucking idiots in charge. You don't have any winners in charge of this shit. So no, it wasn't anything personal about John Bond. It's about these guys. Christine. Oh my God. Do we have a female watching? Great show. I listen to everything you say on every show. Thank you for the confidence to start a channel and sell at a show. I love that. I really appreciate honest people in the industry. Thank you, Christine, for the $10.
She's reached out to us.
Okay.
She's reached out to us on Facebook, so I've talked to her. So we definitely wish her the best of luck, and definitely give us your channel name, and then we'll definitely shout it out on the show.
Let us know
For
how
sure.
it goes. Let us know your progress. We're more than welcome to, we like, I don't want to say the underdog story, but we like the person that's starting out from humble beginnings, not from $2.5 million in PPP loans and a wife that sold a business for $100 million.
Wasn't that much.
It's not hard. It's not hard to start a business when your wife is rich as fuck and you get $2 million in PPP loans. It's not hard, guys. And maybe Christine's loaded. She sent us $10. So she probably is doing pretty well. But start a channel, sell at a show. We'll shout you out. Thank you, Christine. Nick, also loyal contributor, $2. Unless it's graded John Bond 10. I don't want it. John Bond's a legend now. This dude was like crying at me on Twitter. And I was like, bro, it ain't about you. You're a legend now, bro. You're on the Sports Card Radio. You're a legend now, bro. He's probably too butthurt to even tune into the show now. Title City Sports Mike. He's got that logo, baby. How much you want for it? He says his last name is Bentley. Here's another 5.
That's going right to Tim. That's going right to Tim.
Wait, hold on. Another 10. Are we good? 25. We're up to 20. I think we're up to 25 for a logo. Tim, 25, bro. I think we gotta accept that.
I'll take that. I'll take all.
He got it. Sold.
I know Hermosa ain't cheap. I was there a couple weeks ago. I know Hermosa ain't cheap. Philip Fabiani with the $10. Griff Tears or Mojo, Jeff, and Fleer. I like these ideas, guys. Keep them coming. We're gonna have some Griff Tears. I'm not lying either. We're gonna have some Griff Tears coming to Sports Card Radio, guys. I think a lot of people are making money in this hobby. I don't think we're making enough.
We ain't making it.
Joseph Dowd, another loyal contributor with the Canadian $5. Love Canada. Can't even say it now. Hey guys, shameless promotion. My WrestleMania 1 poster is ending 2 days on Golden. Oh yeah, I think we showed this also. Doesn't advertise worth beans. Any tips for the last 48 hours?
It'll get
I mean,
bids.
yeah, I
It'll
think
get
this is
bids.
why you send it to Golden. They're gonna have their email marketing, they're gonna have their social, they're gonna pump this stuff up towards the end. You're gonna have people that are watching this. You're gonna get a 725 for this. Seems okay for now. I don't know what these normally would sell for. I don't know what you have into it, but seems to me 725 is not. I wouldn't be overly concerned unless you're into it for like 10K or something crazy. But it looks like people are bidding more recently. So
This will definitely, with golden stuff, like I mean, I'm trying to sometimes bid while the fucking show's going on. It gets a lot of bids late. And I don't know how many watchers you could check in your account, like how many watchers you have. But if you have 20, 30 watchers on this thing, like you're getting bids. Like you're gonna get bids late. And then it obviously goes to extended bidding. After 7, it goes into extended bidding. So if it gets an extra bid, another 15 minutes gets kicked on, and another 15 minutes gets kicked on. I don't know what these are worth, but I would feel comfortable that you're definitely going to get more bids on this item.
is that some kind of what? I know today is like a weekly auction. What is this? Some kind of other auction ending tomorrow?
This is like the culture, one of the culture ones or something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It might be
Another tip I know with Golden, he's got this elite auction that's going to feature a lot of Kobe stuff. Like you got mid to low end Kobe. I mean, you put that in the weekly auction when he's got his main auction going on, and you crush it. I know we did with the Joe Montana. Like he had his like Joe Montana auction, and we crushed it on Joe Montana stuff the week he had Joe. So in the future, you kind of see what they got going on with the lead auction, and you try to maybe time your elite.
God damn, look at all the Patrick Mahomes cards.
I know.
Holy
everybody's
shit.
selling.
Holy shit.
This is why everybody's like, oh, I'm going to wait till they.
Holy shit.
Watch when like Luka wins a title. Everybody's going to be like, oh, wait until Luka wins a title. Yeah, everybody's waiting for that moment, guys. Watch how many auctions of Luka cards are going to come when he wins a title. Yeah, everybody's selling their
There's
shit.
48 auctions with Mahomes.
Yeah,
holy shit, look at all these fucking cards.
Yeah, it's insane. And like we said a couple weeks ago, dude, wife is fine, but in 30 years, she ain't going to be fine, guys. Like, he going to be going on the road signing his name.
Damn.
Just like every other quarterback has. Like, it ain't going to be. Oh, you trying to. You're trying to get up.
I thought somebody relisted the sticker. I thought they relisted the sticker.
Damn, maybe
it.
not. Jeff said the poor pricks are working 7 days a week. Sounds terrible. Yeah, I know. Dude said he was working till 3 a.m. I mean, that's hardcore, bro. I mean, I might be awake at 3 a.m., but I'm watching like chess videos. Jeff should prove you wrong and open up another CardsHQ right next door to the original. Yeah, he expands. Like, imagine how stupid we look in a month from now. He's like, I just bought the whole building, guys. I've been selling
in Marietta. Open a second one in Marietta.
And look, maybe he is wildly successful, guys. But again, I don't subscribe to the I want to work 8 12-hour days. I want to grind my fucking ass off. I want to live the Dave Ramsey lifestyle. I don't live that way, guys. Maybe that's un-American, maybe that's whatever, but I live the lifestyle of, hey, I have a skill set that I know is valuable. I sell that skill set to my employer, and that's it. I ain't working an hour extra. Christine won an Eckersley auto for $36 on Golden. Seems reasonable.
That does seem reasonable.
There's some good deals to have still. Like I'm on there, I'm on eBay, and I'm like, God damn, this is not. I'd rather, honestly, this sounds like an advertisement, but it's like I'd rather be bidding on some of these other sites like Golden because it's just you find more deals more consistently, in my opinion. eBay is like it's the place to play full price. Yeah. You really have to get that stuff that's super rare, and you kind of have to pay up for it with the idea that it's so rare that you can price it up. Kind of is
Or
kind of
just
what I
weird,
found with these.
weird player. Like I randomly got some good deals on some JJ Redick cards the other day. You know what I mean? They're probably worth like $15 each, and I probably paid like $1 or $2 each. So it's like you
Sure.
kind of have to be in there and know, you're not getting CJ Strouds or Mahomes or any of the hot
No.
guys for a deal
No.
over there.
No. And even Eckersley, there's probably just not enough supply of Eckersley on a daily basis to like really have that hot deal on there where the golden buyer is not really like an Eckersley guy. You know what I mean? Like they're on there trying to get these Mahomes for $70,000 or whatever. I listened to the advice on here. Burbank equals blueprint. Christine again coming in with the $2. I think so. I think so. They've been in the hobby for a long time.
Mhm.
They've proven it over a long period of time. It's almost like an athlete, guys. Jeff Wilson is like CJ Stroud. Burbank is like Tom Brady. Who are you trying to copy? Who are you trying to be? I know in this hobby, we always trying to like anoint the new guy, the next Tom Brady, the next whatever. But Burbank is like the Tom Brady, and Jeff Wilson is, I wouldn't even put him in CJ Stroud. He's like, he's like the Zach Wilson. He's the guy trying to have a job.
You thought he was going to be good.
Yeah, you thought he was going to be good. How many influencers are, oh my God, this is awesome. This is great. It's like, yeah, you wouldn't put your 3 million on that. If you had 3 million, you wouldn't do that. That's how you know it's not a great idea. Like if I gave you 3 million, you wouldn't be doing what Jeff is doing.
Mhm.
This is great. This is great for the hobby. This is not. The hobby isn't a living, breathing thing, guys. The hobby doesn't care if CardsHQ is alive or not. It just doesn't. The hobby was doing fine before CardsHQ, and it'll be doing fine later. Joe Cyrus with the $2. Guys, we're almost damn near 3 hours in. This is like damn near a what do we do? What are the guy's name? Backyard Breaks. We did like a 15-hour live stream with them, 8 hours live stream.
Well,
so
it was a huge news day.
big day
For the fondlers, big day for the fanboys. I mean, the fanboys were,
big day.
I mean, they were crushed.
Big day.
I mean, they were just big
Crushed.
day for the fanboys.
Big day. Go back to the females. I mean, I think we should leave it there.
Highlight the pictures of female.
Ooh. I think we should start a podcast where we talk about females. I mean, we can get like 600 people for men.
Sounds good to me.
Can you imagine the females? I mean,
can 550 people watching be females?
I mean, come on. I think we should
just grade them. I think we should grade them. I think we should, people grade pictures of men. I think we should grade pictures of women.
I mean, I'm like 5 beers deep. I mean, these are 10s at this point. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Sports Card Radio is the longest running, most documented, most threatened lawsuit. We are in our, I can't do math, but I think we're in our 16th or 17th year here posting content on the internet independently. We're not a big corporation like Beckett. We're not backed by PPP loans and rich sugar mamas like Jeff Wilson. We're not backed like Beckett. We're not backed like Sports Collectors Daily with 19 different writers and staff members. We are two guys, two average Joes that like to fondle pictures of men. We are the longest running, most influential sports card podcast and sports card program in the hobby. A lot of people want to get your like. They want to have your influence. They want you to come up to them at a show and have you take pictures and pay you $5 for autographs. Sports Card Radio just wants you to know the truth about the business, and they want you to save $1 or two on some of these trimmed pictures of men. And we love beautiful women as much as we love pictures of men. Thank you all for tuning in today. Did Bob Boozle have... Bob Boozle did show up. Bob Boozle LLC to acquire Sports Card Radio. We'll negotiate the terms after the show. I did see
That'll
that
be
there was
breaking
mystery
news.
with Bob. He's here, guys. Thank God. His wife finally got off his face, and he's here. He is here.
Wait,
guys.
how many did we get Instagram followers?
I don't know.
Hold on, it's refreshing.
I don't take any credit for this. If he's got more Instagram followers, it is
Boom.
okay. He's got like, I don't know. I think we do lead the league in trying to get our audience onto other people, but at the end of the day, it takes your own hard work and your own ambition to do this stuff. And SCV is one of the hardest working persons in YouTube content right now.
Well, I tell you why I'm doing this is because me and him chatted today over email, and he said if I shouted out his IG, he's coming on the channel. So I'm holding you to that, Mr. SCV, the Sports Card Radio Nation.
Okay,
wants you to come on the channel, so we'll get him on. We'll
get him on. Maybe we should have some cigars, and we should wear robes.
I'm loving that idea.
I might have a robe. I may be able to find a robe. Maybe I'll buy a Louis Vuitton robe. I'll spend like $5,000 on a Louis Vuitton. I'm not guaranteeing that, but maybe I will. We'll get robes and some cigars, and we'll interview SCV sports cards. Does it sound like a good idea?
Oh,
okay, so we'll get some robes. And I wish I could get my biceps and my body in shape to the level he's at, but that's not going to happen over the next the next couple of years, let alone
Where's Barry Bonds? Where's Barry Bonds? And I can get some
right. If there's some steroids I can take, that'd be fantastic. There's these Wegovy and Ozempic. You can lose some weight. Where's the needle for me to get my biceps pumped up? But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We love all of you for tuning in. We hope you all have a wonderful day. Margot Robbie and that other girl are just quite lovely. But until next time, till another time, another place, unless Nat Turner buys us out over the next 7 days,
come on, Nat.
We'll be back 7 days from now. And again, paging Homie at Beckett, paging Nat Turner, paging Ken Golden, paging who else has money? Jeff Wilson.
Jeff.
Paging anybody that has money in this hobby. Sports Card Radio is the most profitable entity in this hobby. So send an offer over. But if you don't, we'll be back 7 days from now, potentially with SCV Sports Card in robes, smoking cigars. But until then, thank you for tuning in tonight. For now, we are out of here.
B-side on the beat.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. on with that PPP. You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay. He's getting money. Even better, tax-free. Loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit.
Peace out, degenerates.